Hey folks, welcome back. Time for another look at some Fallout 2D20 RPG stuff. This time guidebook number 2, the Wanderer's Guidebook. So this is pretty much the polar opposite of the last one we looked at, the Settler's Guidebook. Pretty cool and pretty massive supplement for Fallout 2D20. It's 236 pages long. It's a bit of a whopper. As you can tell from the title, it goes pretty much into the depths of wandering the wasteland. We got some new characters, types, and origins. We got some new weapons and equipment, new things to craft, new modifications to build. We got some locales to scavenge. We've got legendary weapons, creatures, all sorts of new stuff in here. So quite a lot of bang for your buck, as unfortunately has been the case with a couple of these Fallout supplements. There are some typos here and there, which I'll point out when I remember to. And it was definitely worth the price I paid. And I think there's a lot of stuff in here, even though I prefer the settlement side of gameplay, I think plenty of this stuff would work really well in those games as well. I mean, there's more stuff in here about raiders and high-level packs of enemies wandering the wasteland that might rattle your settlement's cage a little bit. So plenty of stuff to use in here, plus vehicles as well. So we'll take a quick look at the back here. And you can see, of course, we've got our favorite mascot there, Vault Boy. Create new characters from brand new origins, including the Brotherhood Outcast, Child of Adam, Nightkin, robots, and more. Scavenge anywhere in the wasteland with pre-built locations or use them to create your own. Spend your luck for chances at more loot. Get ahead of the competition with 54 brand new perks. Become fireproof, fight like a gladiator, work those healing hands, or become a natural-born survivor. Remind everyone why you're special. Loads of new equipment just waiting to be found in the wasteland. Create your own legendary weapons and armor. Introducing vehicles and new rules to tear across the waste. Roll in style in a chrysalis cherry bomb, or soar the skies in a vertibird. Create unforgettable legendary foes and creatures with new optional rules. Evolve your enemies with new legendary abilities that mutate as the fight goes on. That's pretty cool. Face off against a myriad of new creatures and foes from cryptids, mutated experiments, and iconic factions across the east and west coasts. So, without further ado, let's dive right into this monster here. Alright. So once again, we've, as always, got the standby end papers here. And once again, the nice color-coded table of contents, which I always enjoy. So marking the introductory bit. Then we've got our new options for characters, scavenging, perks, and equipment, which are all in yellow. It's kind of player-facing stuff. And the GM-facing stuff, which is the bestiary, in green. So we've got our new Wanderer characters with new origins and equipment packs. We've got new rules and locations for scavenging in Chapter 2. Chapter 3, we've got our new perks. Chapter 4, we've got new damage effects, new ammunition, new weapons of all different types, new weapon mods, new apparel, legendary items. It's new. Rare books and magazines, irradiated food, new recipe lists, junk, vehicles, and the rules associated with them, and vehicle profiles. And then we get into a whole bunch of new stuff in the bestiary, which we'll look at in more detail when we get there. It's very cool stuff. As usual, each chapter opens with a lovely 2-page spread. We're in Reno. Appropriately enough, the title here is A Radioactive Landscape Where Life is a Struggle. So the intro just basically sets the scene here, talking about how things were for people that remained on the surface or escaped from their vaults early after the nuclear war that made the Earth into an irradiated wasteland, and how some survivors banded together to form gangs or militias or enclaves, try and protect each other from mutant wildlife and sort of raiders and other remnants of humanity that might put them in danger. Focuses in on a few places like the Mojave Wasteland, which was briefly explored by the Brotherhood of Steel. There's lots of wild tales about interesting stuff happening in there. Other places such as New Reno remain largely unscathed from the war and quickly propped itself back up as a capital of sin. But then there were heavily bombed locations like Washington, which were strategic targets that inevitably succumbed to heavy nuclear artillery. Huge power vacuums here and loads of chaos afterwards. Survivors took shelter in whatever they could find, but most didn't survive because there weren't resources. Eventually a settlement called Megaton that was established, and traders from across the capital wasteland came to Megaton for its stable water source and location and so forth. But despite there being even a Brotherhood of Steel chapter in there, the raiders were big and bad enough to make life a constant struggle still. So this kind of sets the scene for the book overall, which is about journeying through the devastated landscape of an older world. People going from settlement to survive, thrive, and sometimes get by. So this is about the outsiders, people who don't necessarily belong to a given faction or change their loyalties as they move around, but the landscape in between is nightmarish. But it can also be full of hidden resources, treasures, and dangers as well. The supplement expands on exploring and scavenging the wasteland, provides new tools and gear, and offers a myriad of dangerous foes and creatures. Pre-built scavenging locations that can be adapted for any Fallout quests, new perks and equipment, and expanded rules for creating legendary equipment and creatures. Looks like an abandoned rock quarry. We've got a Vaulty here with his faithful dog meat companion, wondering what might be scavenged, I guess, from this place, or who might be hiding down there. And there's definitely something nasty, giant bats or something come out of there. So, Wanderer characters. This is a great mood-setting image as well. So first up we have our new origins. I really like this one here. So the Assaultron. Here we have another type of robot. And robot characters are always interesting to play, I think, in Fallout, because you have have pretty amazing benefits. I mean, you're immune to disease and radiation and poison, but you can't gain anything from food, drink, or rest, and you can only recover HP if you take repair kits, basically, or get repaired by somebody else. So that's a pretty major downside. Repair kits aren't always easy to find, but you do have this kind of innate toughness and often built-in weaponry that can be pretty hardcore. And in this case, particularly hardcore because we have an Assaultron robot, which was a top-of-the-line piece of military hardware. So it was built for close combat at the height of the Sino-American War. It's fast, durable, and above all, deadly. Armor-plated, actuated limbs, and in vicious claws, which can be upgraded to any number of other tools to sow death or destruction. The Assaultron's cranial unit houses a laser so potent that the sounds of its charging haunts the nightmares of those lucky enough to survive an encounter with it for years to come. And it's interesting here they mention that some Assaultrons have been found sort of wandering the landscape, damaged or stuck in a programming loop, or just putting down whoever runs into them without any real concern for who they are. So deactivated or damaged units become pretty valuable. Program them into bodyguards or bouncers or whatever else they can think of, to protect your caravan, protect your settlement or whatever, and that's really, really powerful because most people, when they see an Assaultron, will want to back off because they know how deadly they are. However, some of them have also changed and become sentient and independent, broken free of the bounds of their code, so they even have some sort of personality or even an ego. So they're more complex thinking beings like the other robot characters we see in the Fallout setting, so that's really cool. And that, of course, opens it up for player characters to have fun with these. So they have an interesting trait designed for the front line, so they got all the robot stuff I mentioned. Your carry weight is 150 pounds and can't be increased by strength or perks, but you can only use modified armor for that. They do have actuated hands so they can manipulate stuff. They have chain-powered limbs built for speed and deadly efficiency in close quarters fighting, giving you +1 die to unarmed attacks in addition to any bonus die on melee attacks you receive from your strength. A powerful laser is integrated into your armored head, allowing you to target foes at range with a powerful energy weapon, and they can also self-destruct. So with their unarmed claws, which are chain-powered, they get 4 dice of physical damage. With the Assaultron head laser, they can deal 5 dice of piercing 1 energy damage, consuming 2 shots of fusion cell ammunition. You can reduce that to 1 to reduce the shot to 4 dice and 1 shot consumed. You can also mod the capacitor, of course, as you can with other robots and other laser weapons to increase the damage and shot consumed if you so choose. Finally, self-destruct works like with the other robots with this power. You explode and destroy yourself. You basically end up making a ranged attack using endurance plus explosives, dealing 6 dice of energy damage with blast effect at close range. So very powerful, but a very much last-ditch effort if your party is getting swamped and you want to go for a heroic sacrifice. Then you got the Brotherhood Outcast. So this focuses in on the fact that the Brotherhood of Steel, despite their sort of heroic imagery that they like to present, they're not really the good guys. They're also seen by some as technology hoarding brutes, and they're more concerned with getting their hands on old world tech and keeping it to themselves and wiping out the local mutants rather than helping people who might need that stuff. So many people who were kind of aspiring to be part of the Brotherhood end up drifting away from it as they find the truth of what the Brotherhood really does. So you have these Brotherhood outcasts. They travel from place to place, offering aid to those in need and dispensing justice. However, they are considered deserters, so they do tend to bring down misfortune on those that they may settle down with, so they have to keep on the move. And their trait is the chain that breaks, so you believe your superiors in the Brotherhood lack a vision beyond acquiring pre-war tech, and that your strength as a member of this fraternity gives you a duty to help others and pursue different goals than the dogma of the Brotherhood leadership dictates. You get 1 additional tag skill, which must be one of energy, weapon, science, or repair, and you gain an additional 1d20 junk, and can spend 1 AP up to 3 times for 1 uncommon material per AP spent, so that's for scavenging. You can make 1 additional roll on the loot table without having to spend AP at all. Then we got a really interesting origin here, the Child of Adam. So these are really interesting guys. This is the religion that sprung up where they believe that radiation is a gift from Adam, the atomic god, and it's a gift that you must share with everyone else. So as a member of the Church of Adam, your body and mind are blessed by radiation. So many are kind of wary of you. You kind of embrace radiation as a gift. And they believe that the entire universe exists within every atomic mass in all of creation. Adam is revered as a benevolent god who uses division to create new worlds. So they worship Adam by creating radiation, his glow, and the newly created universes it represents. They make their homes in irradiated regions, building worship centers and settlements. They consider attempts to stop radiation from spreading a blasphemy. So they don't hold strong attachment to their bodies or possessions and can be very generous to others in need. But yeah, they do like to spread radiation, so watch out for that. Their trait is called Rad Sponge. Your unusual life experience grants you an extra perk at level 1. Additionally, you were given a gift by Adam, unique even amongst other members of the church. You can resist, store, and channel radiation through your body. So your base radiation damage resistance is 1 and can be increased further by armor and perks. Once per scene, when someone in close range to you would suffer radiation damage, you can choose to take it instead. Whenever you suffer radiation damage, minimum of 0, you gain 1 radiation point, up to a maximum of 5. Then when you hit with a melee attack, you may spend your stored radiation points. For every point you spend, deal an additional 2 dice radiation damage applied separately after inflicting the attack's normal damage. So you can store radiation up from opposing enemy radiation attacks and then channel it back through your body into your punches. When you sleep, though, you lose 1 radiation point. So it's not something that stays within you forever. It leaks out over time. So if you have the chance to spread the glow, better go ahead and do it before it runs out. Then you've got the Nightkin. These guys are interesting as well. So 100 years ago, they were the epitome of the super mutant species, the peak of the Master's work with the forced evolutionary virus and his chosen soldiers. What elevated them above their kin was their minds. They retained their intelligence following their evolution, holding onto their individuality and past experiences, all while employing the strength and durability common to super mutants. In addition, they were unusually receptive to their creator's psychic influence, allowing them not only to receive his word across any distance, but breeding a fierce loyalty to the Master in the process. A Vault Dweller later killed the Master and devastated his works, and the Nightkin were similarly disrupted, scattered, or hunted to extinction. And one of the greatest tools employed by the Nightkin, the Stealth Boy, had begun to adversely affect them. So the unique radiation emitted by the Stealth Boys had altered them on a molecular level, infusing their skin with a blue hue and warping their brain chemistry. And they're now a tragic shadow of their former selves. So they suffer from all kinds of mental disorders. And they're reliant on the camouflage of Stealth Boys, so the mere idea of being watched fills them with dread. So they try to violently seek out new stashes of Stealth Boys and disappear again into a shimmering field of security. Now, their trait is a Stealth Boy addict, so your initial strength and endurance are increased by 2, maximum strength and endurance are increased to 12, but your max int and charisma are both reduced to 8. You can't have more than 4 ranks in any skill, but you're completely immune to radiation and poison damage. You stand 7 feet tall, your body is bulky and muscular, and your skin is blue. You don't age, but you're sterile. You can only wear armor that's been made to fit a super mutant. You can easily become addicted to Stealth Boys, and its prolonged use has taken a huge toll on your psychology and mental health. Whenever you use the Stealth Boys, you roll 1 die for each dose you've taken this session. If you roll any effects, you gain the following symptom. Addicted to Stealth Boys, you increase the difficulty of perception and intelligence tests by +2 and charisma tests by +1 until the addiction is cured. Then we have the tribal communities. These are interesting as well. So tribal wastelanders inhabit the wasteland outside some of the more formalized states, like the NCR, tend to inhabit quite a lot larger territories than other settlements and have a strong sense of community. They share a more spiritual philosophy with the wider wasteland and have a sort of mythologized explanation of the world as it exists now. They also hold old technology and superstitious reverence. And there are 5 total traits here that you can pick. I like that we often have these origins that have some variants to them, so you can customize them in terms of the trait that you choose. So here you've got 5 options. They each have a benefit and a penalty. So in Mother Wasteland, you can spend 1 luck point to gain insight into the quest, situation, or scene as if you'd spent 3 AP to use obtain information 3 times, but the information is often cryptic and mystical in nature. Their penalty is that complications make scenes involving pre-war artifacts harder to understand. Nomad, you can re-roll 1d20 on survival tests to travel, set up camp, and forage for food and water. In addition, ignore the first complication rolled when making these tests. On the penalty side, barter and speech tests increase the difficulty and complication range by 1 when dealing with inhabitants of a static settlement. Science cannot be a tag skill. Then we have the rite of passage. So the first time you spend luck in a scene, roll 1 die. If you roll an effect, you have not spent that luck point. However, you view everyone who hasn't gone through your rite of passage as lesser. You cannot assist another PC without spending 1 AP first. Then we got tools of the old world. So you can use survival instead of repair or science to repair or make use of pre-war tech, but complication range of tests involving pre-war technology, not weapons, is increased by 2. Finally, we have the chosen one. The first d20 you purchase is free on tests relating to your tribe's quest, and you can always succeed at a cost, but the GM adds 2 AP to their pool whenever your quest comes up. There you go. Then we got some examples of tribes seen in the wastes. So we got the Boomers, who are descendants of the inhabitants of Vault 34 that believe in the personal liberty to bear arms. We got the cult of the Mothman, who follow the cryptid Mothman in Appalachia. We have the Tree Minders, who occupy a small fertile area of the capital wasteland they call Oasis. Then we got the Vipers, who originated from Vault 15, which they left to then explore the wastes. After a formative quasi-religious encounter with a huge pit of viper snakes, their founder, Jonathan Faust, organized them into a tribe of merciless raiders. So they have a mythological bond to the viper snake and employ rites and rituals utilizing venom to summon visions and perform initiations. They're an aggressive tribe with a deep religious undertone, and here we see them facing off against what looked to be a giant 2-headed serpent. Not the best thing to encounter in the world. Then we have our new equipment packages for these different origins. So for the Assaultron, got the US military model. You get 1 laser gun integrated into one of your claws. You get an actuated frame body or an actuated frame arm and an actuated frame leg, your choice as to which ones. Standard plating in all hit locations otherwise. 8+7 dice fusion cells, recon sensors, and 15 caps. The Assaultron Devil was rebuilt and repurposed by the Rust Devils, a bloodthirsty gang of raiders. So they get a skull mask to look scarier. They get a serrated plate body or serrated plate arm and leg, again your choice. 2 construction claws, a hazard detection mod, 6+6 die fusion cells, and a robot repair kit, which is handy to have. Then finally you have a robotic caravan guard, reinforced with heavier armor and more cargo space. So they get 1 laser gun attachment integrated into a claw, factory storage armor and factory armor legs, 14+7 die fusion fusion cells. That's quite a few. Then they get some wares, 3 rolls each from the random ammunition, aid, and junk tables in the core rulebook, a behavioral analysis module, and 10 plus 5 die caps. Then we move on to the Brotherhood Outcasts. So there's a couple different options here as well. You got the X-Knight. They're more military-minded, took to the wasteland with as much firepower and protection as you could muster. So they get a laser rifle and 8 plus 6 die fusion cells, a tattered set of Brotherhood of Steel fatigues, a military canteen filled with water, 2 rolls on the Outcast equipment table, which is here. D20 roll on that table, 10 caps. Then you have the X-Scribe. So they have a penchant for the mechanical over the military. They brought the most important possessions, your knowledge, and combined with a few bits and pieces you managed to smuggle away. So you've got a laser pistol and 8 plus 4 die fusion cells, a tattered set of Brotherhood Scribe armor, a multi-tool, 3 rolls on the Outcast equipment table, and 15 caps. And there's cool stuff on here, by the way. You can get deluxe toolkits, flashlights, antibiotics, combat chest pieces, maps, stim packs, combat arms, combat legs, sensor arrays, laser muskets, power fists, even a pit boy. Pretty useful stuff. Now, if you're a child of Adam, you can be either a missionary or a zealot. So a missionary wanders the wasteland, helping the needy and delivering the good word. They also get, as equipment, tough clothing, a walking cane, a gamma gun, which spews radiation, of course, with 4 plus 2 dice gamma rounds, 1 stim pack, 10 caps, and 1 roll on the random food table. Then we have the Zealot. So whether on a quest given to you by your sect's elders or Adam's holy revelations, you left your community to seek out the Church of Adam's enemies. Then you get tough clothing or a drifter outfit, a machete, a gamma gun with 4 plus 2 die gamma rounds, a gas mask, and 2 rolls on the random food table. Now with the super mutant, there's only one Nike equipment pack. Get the following things: a laser rifle with 8 plus 6 die fusion cells, a bumper sword, a raider chest piece, and raider armor for 1 arm and 1 leg. Then you get a stealth boy, 2 rolls on the random food table, and 1 roll on the random beverage table. Then we have the tribalists. So there's a bunch of different origins here. So the modernists, they embrace the modern aspects of life, repurposing old equipment into the modern day, if you like. So they start out with either a 9mm pistol with 8 plus 6 die rounds, and a combat knife, or a pump action shotgun with 12 plus 6 die shotgun shells. Get an Under Armour suit, either a combat chest piece or combat arm and leg, a multi-tool, 1 roll on the random food table, 1 roll on the random beverages table, and 3 die worth of junk. The ritualists basically have a ritual or esoteric connection to everything that happens. So you know the ways of your people, their customs and needs, and you're focused on this kind of mystical aspect. So your equipment pack includes a hunting rifle with 6 plus 4 die .308 rounds, or black powder blunderbuss with 6 plus 4 die 50 caliber balls, or a pipe gun and pipe revolver with 4 plus 6 die 38 caliber rounds and 4 plus 6 die 45 caliber rounds. You also get sturdy clothing, a leather chest piece, a personal trinket, and 2 rolls on the oddities and valuables table. Now you have the naturalists, so you try to be at one with the world around you, taking only what you need and giving back where you can, knowing that a long life awaits you. Not sure about that. This Fallout we're talking about, but it's a nice thought. So they get a bow for their weapon, more naturalistic I suppose, with 10 plus 6 die arrows, a machete, and a combat knife. They get a hunter's pelt outfit and a hunter's hood, a wooden armor chest piece, and either a wooden arm or wooden leg, 3 rolls on the random food table, and 3 rolls on the random beverage table. So they do have a little bit of plenty as far as supplies are concerned, more than most people get. Now we're into scavenging. So here we see an interesting indoor location with lots of machinery. There's a bit of a biohazard symbol up there, some kind of fighter jet or other equipment here, barrels of dangerous looking stuff. So this chapter doesn't introduce a huge amount of new rules, but does have some nicely pre-made scavenging locations that you can adapt in different ways, drop into any Fallout quest, really. This is in addition to the scavenging rules in the core rulebook and the Game Master's Toolkit. So the idea is that you have a quick and easy method of introducing interesting scavenging locations with pre-built locales and scavenging tables. Luck and levels. In the standard scavenging rules and rolling on a loot table, you can spend a luck point to add or subtract the level of location from their rolls on a loot table. However, if you're using predetermined loot, there's no loot roll for luck points to impact. Follow these rules as guidance for rewarding the player's use of a valuable resource, or go with your gut. So if somebody spends luck point, you could maybe add 10 junk per luck point to what they spent. If they found weapons, armor, or power armor, then for every luck point spent, add 1 mod to the item they found. For chems, food, and beverage, for every luck point spent, they could find 1 plus a die additional items of the same type. For clothing, for every luck point, they might get a single damage resistance and increase the clothing's resistance of that type by 1 to a maximum of 4. Finally, for oddities and valuables, for every luck point spent, you could find a magazine alongside whatever else is in the area. So some items also in the predetermined loot tables in these locations have an asterisk beside them, and that just tells you that you need the Settler's Guidebook guidebook to find those. And then we get into the pre-made locations. So a level 5 simple one here in a Red Rocket service station. So you find these close to most old towns and major roads, directly connected to trade routes and other often traveled places. When the characters approach this location, they find it in the care of a tinkerer or other mechanically minded wastelander trying to repurpose the ruin into something useful. So then they talk about some obstacles and threats you might find. An energetic scavenger named Sally Mae has taken it over and installed some shotgun turrets. So if you manage to do a charisma plus speech test with a difficulty of 2, you convince them of your good intentions and you can get free access to nose around the location. And in there you've got some nested areas. So we have a broken down workshop where there's a weapons workbench, armor workbench, and power armor station, which you can potentially repair. There's an old safe you can break open, and that contains a pre-war money worth 60-20 caps, a bull barrel 44 pistol, and ×6 44 caliber ammo. The Red Rocket is an average location and mostly searched, so you can spend 30 minutes and make perception plus survival check with difficulty 3 to find a number of items equal to the minimum number listed in the Red Rocket stop loot table. So this is what we get here. So you can get 2 to 4 junk, 2 to 4 oddities, magazines, clothing, food, and beverages. You can spend action points after each roll to find an additional item from the same table category up to the maximum limit for the category, which is listed here. So if you want to find more clothing, you could spend a couple of AP and get, all 3 of these items, for example. So it's nice and simple. You can just drop this into an area. It's not a lot of paperwork for the GM and just run with it. Your players have an interesting encounter. They try to convince Sally Mae and have a look around. Maybe they can fix stuff up and help her out. Get some loot in return. And there's clearance rewards as well. And it even mentions that if you really help secure this place from local threats, then you could have this as kind of a burgeoning settlement. You could even link it to the Poseidon Energy Plant, which is another location later in the chapter, and really get things going as far as settling down. There's also a super mutant camp, level 10, also a simple one. So there's 2 entrances here. It's full of a mob of super mutants though. They have a super mutant master, 2 brutes, and a number of super mutants equal to the party size +1. Plus they have man traps, punji boards, bear traps, and more litter the path into the camp. So if you try to get through, you have to suffer an agility plus athletics test with a difficulty of 2 or suffer 3 dice physical damage. And then we have our simplified loot table. So you find some cool stuff here: machetes, sledgehammers, swords, super sledge, miniguns, missile launchers, heavy combat armor, heavy raider armor, mutant hound meat, Nuka-Cola, and Brahmin milk. And then it says, you can clear out the mutant camp and get loads of stuff from scavenging it, but there's always the chance that more super mutants will attack to try and get back what's theirs. They got a warehouse, level 15. So these are normally found at the docks, attached to old superstores or gathered in large districts. They're difficult to breach postmodern treasure troves. More than a few raider wars have been fought over these monuments to capitalism. This warehouse has been broken open by a cadre of synths still searching for an unknown prize. There's a synth courser leading the team, watching the area for threats as the 9 synth troopers break into teams of 3 and comb the area. They're immediately hostile to interlopers and have no compunction about gutting down anyone or anything that enters the warehouse. If pressured, the courser can throw a synth relay grenade and summon an additional die +1 synths to the fight. And if you want to move through the area without getting noticed, it's an agility plus sneak test with a difficulty of 4. It's pretty tough. There's also hidden turrets as well. 4 machine gun turrets, 3 shot, which are wall mounted. It's just out of view on the rear of the warehouse. So the security terminal attached to the shutters holds information on the turrets, but the terminal can't properly shut them down due to a corrupted computer pathway. Once the shutters are open, the turrets immediately trigger and open fire on anything that enters the room. So yeah, not easy to breach. Then you got nested areas inside as well. You've got the West Tech delivery truck. So the truck has a wealth of power armor, including frames, armor pieces, and fusion cores. So this is the target of the Institute's attention. Even after opening the shutters and getting inside the warehouse, you still have a physical lock to keep the contents here hidden away. So again, you have a difficulty 4 test to open the shutter. Then the truck lock is another difficulty 4 test. Then you can try and find the items in the warehouse truck loot table, which is here. So loads of T60 power armor stuff and fusion cores, which is pretty amazing. And the warehouse itself, you can find loads of cool stuff as well. Ammo, plasma cartridges, missiles, combat rifles, plasma rifles, triple barrel scoped missile launchers, lots of heavy combat armor, curved ripper knives, and stealth combat knives. So if you search the truck, after clearing this, you can also get directions to a larger military outpost, one that now lies in the hands of the gunners or another like-minded faction. So that's pretty cool. So they always give you this little seed of what would be the next step if you wanted to throw this down into a quest with your party. Now we've got the Poseidon Energy Plant, which is a level 8 complex scavenging location. So this one we saw was linked to the Red Rocket service station earlier. So it's a huge location laden with potential loot and threats. It's got 3 zones: a sub-basement, the main floor, and the roof. Poseidon loot table here. It's been mostly searched and there's 3 zones. There tends to be unexpected guests. So in this case we have a raider crew led by a raider veteran, 2 raider scavengers, travelers and a number of raiders equal to the number of PCs plus 2. They're spread around the planet and can be found in any zone as well, so watch your backs. Then we got our simplified loot. So it's a large scavenging location, but it is mostly searched, so you won't get as much cool stuff, but there is some interesting things in here, like heavy synth armor, boiler mods for your robots, welder visors, utility overalls, auto pistols, and flamers. So there's some clearance rewards as well. You can get location of threats nearby, details on the area, or you can resettle it or use it as a camp, but you have to clear the whole thing, not just bits of the energy plant. Then they have details on each of the areas, so I won't go into too much detail here, but the main floor, you've got robotic security. The walkways themselves are broken down, which can crumble and kill you. You've got traps as well, shotgun traps and frag mines, and you have a nested area inside of the site director's office. And then the main floors itself has a loot table as well, so as is typically the case, the nested site has its own mini loot table, and then you have a loot table for the overall zone as well. Then we have the sub-basement, so this one basically is lurking with 18 ghouls, and a particularly nasty mighty glowing one in the backup generator room. They sort of lie just below the waterline, play dead, so watch out for that. And a lot of the tunnels are flooded, making it harder to move and risky for those with an open wound. You also have some frag mines, machine gun turrets, and other stuff guarding the area. And then you have the nested area inside of the backup generator room, and it's been changed with the words "not worth it" painted in red. Love that. So inside there's a large power generator, but also the mighty glowing one, and a number of ghouls equal to the PC count plus 2. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff you need to do, but if you succeed, you'll get access to a fusion core, cool weapons, some armor, raider armor, and a whole bunch of junk, including 2 rare materials, which is nice. The sub-basement itself, loot table, has got a lot of ammo, some cool weapons. And on the roof, finally, you got a notable mercenary and a sniper's perch on the roof. She's good at what she does. They're a notable character with an agility of 8 and a small gun skill of 4, and they carry a powerful marksman's long scope hunting rifle. If you manage to loot the roof, it's only a small location and untouched. You've got a sharpshooter pistol, frag mines, and some ammo. Then we got the Abandoned Vault, a level 12 complex scavenging location. Got a bunch of different zones here. We got 4. The entrance, living space, overseer's office, and lab. It's mostly searched overall. The obstacles and threats to get in. You've got laced air. There's psychoactive drugs in the air. Then there's hidden traps as well. The lead researcher of this pre-war vault still walks its halls in a sense. This is a legendary robo-brain who has long since forgotten his name. And then we have a loot table, the Abandoned Vault, just getting inside. And then we have the clearance rewards. If the area is cleared and the researcher escapes with the compound, the chemical compound lacing the air, characters may encounter the compound again later, and the researcher, or set out to halt his plans to unleash the laced air on the unsuspecting people of the wasteland as a whole. So kind of like a supervillain plan going on there. Then we've got the subzone, so the entrance. We've got a difficult test using either a Pip-Boy or a terminal to get inside. There's a nested security office inside, which has its own loot table. You can get some security armor, stun batons, and powerful pistols. And the overall loot table for the entrance, we've got vault jumpsuits and lab coats, pipe wrenches, bladed boards, pre-war money, first aid kits, and junk. Nothing too great. Then you've got the living space, so you need a key code terminal from the overseer's office. There's some corrupted gardeners, so 5 Mr. Handy units plus 1 unit per player over 4. They attack anyone entering the gardens on site unless you're wearing a vault jumpsuit. It's also locked in barricaded rooms. Upon entry, you have to roll 5 die plus 1 per player, with each effect representing either a locked door or barricade. And then you have to be able to access each room, basically, to loot everything. Within this area, of course, you have the gardens as well, where you find the corrupted gardeners. It has its own loot table, which are all food and not irradiated. There's also a service section. So there's a lone chair in the middle of the old barbers, a selection of scissors, razors, etc. A note has been pinned to a box with a stealth combat knife describing how the bodies were sacrificed to a creature known as Ug Kaltoth. And without the barber's help, the ancient being would have decimated the vault. Interesting. Bench hook there if I ever heard of one. So living space is an average location, mostly searched, and overall you have your simplified loot table here, a bunch of vaulty jumpsuits, some snacks, gumdrops, noodle cups, purified water, beer, and Nuka-Cola Quantum. That's very good. Basic weapons, melee weapons, and some bobby pins and torches. Then we have the overseer's office, which is a small room blocked by a bunch of barricades. You've got to get through those, and then you need to find the code to the laboratory and enter it into a terminal. Spend an hour and make a test of difficulty 3 to determine the right code, because it was not necessarily written down in the right order. After you clear the area, you can loot the overseer's office. You can find Tesla Science Today #1, Massachusetts Surgical Journal, and a holotape player. You can find some vaulty jumpsuits and casual clothing, some booze, an auto combat shotgun, 10mm pistol, and stun baton. Then we got the laboratory. It's split into 4 sections. Okay. So you've got chemical compound 451A. This is a far stronger version of the laced air from earlier. Then you have the legendary RoboBrain researcher as well. And in place of its Tesla gun, the researcher uses a syringer loaded with this compound 451A. He tries to avoid conflict using his mesmatron to disable targets and then inject you with compound 451A before fleeing. Then you've got your necessaries inside the surgical suite, some doses of compound 451A, which could be used for syringer ammunition. You've got an office with the long marksman recon syringer. And then there's an office loot table as well. You get a bunch of different chems, some oddities, including some magazines, some lab coats, and extended ripper knives. You've got patient rooms. You can get yet more doses of compound 451A from a body. And then there's a laboratory loot table. So you get some lab coats, hazard suits, some chems, various junk, and some useful oddities, recon sensors, robot repair kits, behavioral analysis mod. Those are all pretty useful, actually. Now we got another lovely 2-page spread as we get into the new perks. We see the new Coca-Cola girl on the billboard here. Appears to be a broken down school bus, an Assaultron with 1.5 arms, and a guy here just chilling with a colander on his chest. That's interesting, but very cool atmosphere here. Now, as usual, I won't go through all the perks. There's loads of them here, but there are some cool ones I'll just pick out at random. Gladiator. So you need Strength 6, level 2+. If you get a one-handed melee weapon, increase the weapon's damage by +1 die. At rank 2, it's +2 die. At rank 3, it's +3 die, and the level requirement increases by 5 for each level. Lock and load. Requirement Strength 7, level 7+. With a big gun and a fire rate of 2 or higher, the weapon's fire rate is increased by 1. At rank 2, the weapon's fire rate is increased by +2. So each time you take this perk, the level requirement increases by 1. Scatter shot. So you need Strength 7, level 10+. Make a ranged attack with a shotgun. You can take an additional major action by spending 1 AP rather than 2, so long as this additional action is also a ranged attack with the same shotgun. Okay. Perception perks. So Archer. If you're wielding a bow or crossbow, this will be useful for one of the tribes people. You can increase the weapon's damage by +1 die, then +2 at rank 2, +3 die at rank 3. And level requirement increases by 7 each time. You can get it from level 1, but you need Perception 6. Bow before me, I guess. You need Perception 8, level 4+. With a bow or crossbow, you gain the piercing 1 damage effect, or add +1 to the rating of any piercing X damage effect the weapon already had. Useful. Crack shot. If you make a ranged attack with a one-handed range weapon, and you aimed before that, the weapon's range increases by 1 step from close to medium, etc. At rank 2, the weapon also gains the accurate quality if it didn't possess it already. Perception 7, level 7+ to take the perk, and then if you take it again, the level requirement will increase by 7. Night Eyes. Perception 8, level 7+. When you want to avoid attention or hide from an enemy, you may ignore difficulty increases to tests caused by poor lighting or darkness. That's handy. Endurance perks. Cannibal, that's a pretty good one. You need Endurance 8, level 10+, and to not be a robot. So you can attempt to butcher a dead human, which needs an endurance plus survival test with a difficulty of 0. Success yields 1 portion of human flesh, which you may immediately consume. It counts as a food item, which restores 4 HP and is irradiated. So roll 1 die and suffer 1 radiation damage if an effect is rolled. At rank 2, you can also butcher ghouls in this way and eat their flesh, and at rank 3, you can butcher super mutants in this way. But each time you take the perk, the level requirement increases by +9. So super mutants may ignore the level requirement for the first rank only. So after consuming human flesh, roll die equal to the number of times you've eaten human flesh this session. If 2 or more effects are rolled, you are addicted. While addicted, no food will satisfy your hunger other than human flesh, which moves you immediately to the sated state, and after 4 hours of being sated, you immediately gain 1 fatigue and become starving, skipping all the intervening states. This can be cured in the same way as other addictions. You can be fireproof, Endurance 6, level 7+. You gain +1 energy damage resistance against flamers, Molotov cocktails, and other fire-based weapons, as well as any weapons with the blast quality. At rank 2, you get +2 resistance, at rank 3, +3. Each time you take this perk, the level requirement increases by +7. Ghoulish is a useful one, so you don't have to be a ghoul, and in fact you can't be a ghoul or a robot. You need Endurance 9 and level 7+ as well. But like a ghoul, your body heals when you're exposed to radiation. You gain 1 HP for every 4 rad damage you suffer. At rank 2, you gain 1 HP for every 3 rad damage, and at rank 3, you instead heal 1 HP for every 2 rad damage you suffer. Your maximum HP, though, is still reduced by radiation damage. And each time you do another rank in this perk, the level requirement increases by +8. Pretty hardcore. Radicool. I like the sound of that one. Endurance 6, level 12+, and not immune to radiation. So when you have radiation damage equal to 1/4 or more of your maximum HP, you may reroll 1d20 on all strength-based tests and add +1 die to the damage of your melee attacks. If you have radiation damage that equals half or more of your maximum HP, these bonuses increase to rerolling up to 2d20 on strength-based tests and adding 2 die to melee attack damage. If the radiation damage you have is 3/4 of your maximum HP, you may reroll up to 3d20 on strength-based tests and add +3 damage to melee attacks. Wow, so the more radiated you you are, the stronger you become. Charisma perks. You can be a bloodsucker, so consuming a blood pack if you have Charisma 6 level 11 plus, including glowing packs and irradiated blood packs. You now heal twice as many HP and move your thirst state back up towards quenched. When consuming irradiated blood, you now only roll 1 die to determine radiation damage. You can be a field surgeon, Charisma 8, Intelligence 8, level 15 plus. When you use a stim pack, including diluted stim pack or super stim pack, as part of a first aid action, you may heal 3 HP per AP spent. When you use rad away, including diluted ones, as part of a first aid action, you may remove 1 additional rad damage per AP spent. Overly generous. That's a pretty funny one. So you need Charisma 7, level 12 plus, and to be not immune to radiation. When you have radiation damage equal to or greater than 1/4 your maximum HP, your melee attacks gain the radioactive damage effect. I like that. This game has such a dark sense of humor, much like the video games, which I do enjoy. Suppressor, when you have Charisma 6, level 10 plus, then you can have this one, and when you successfully attack an enemy, you may spend 1 AP to suppress them until the end of the next turn. They reduce the damage they inflict on their attacks by 1 die. At rank 2, it's 2 die. At rank 3, it's 3 die. Every time you take this perk, the level requirement goes up by 10. Ouch. Intelligence perks. So we've got a power user, got intelligent requirements of 9, level 10 plus. Fusion cores you use now contain 3 additional charges. At rank 2, this is 6 charges. At rank 3, you get 10 charges. Every time you take the perk, the level requirement increases by 10 though. Also got stabilized. So if you're wearing power armor, you've got int 7 and level 16 plus. You can reroll 1d20 on any attack made with the big gun skill, and any big gun you wield gains piercing 1 or add +1 to any piercing X effect you already had. Then we've got some agility perks. Dead man sprinting, agility 7, level 8 plus. When you take the sprint action, if your current HP is below half of your maximum HP, you may spend 1 AP to move 1 additional zone. We've got escape artist. During combat, if no enemy can see you when you start your turn, you may attempt an agility plus sneak test to hide. The difficulty is the number of enemies within medium range of you. Once hidden, the enemy no longer knows where you are, and they may continue to search for you. In addition, enemies do not receive any bonuses to detect you if you take the sprint action. Goat legs. Wow, that's a new one. Agility 7, level 7 plus. You have +2 physical damage resistance against falling damage. Then it increases to 4 at rank 2 and 6 at rank 3. And the level requirement increases by 5 each time you take the perk. Wow. You have a Mysterious Savior, Luck 7, level 1 plus. From time to time, a Mysterious Savior comes to your aid with lethal results. At the start of a combat encounter, you may spend 1 luck point. If you do so, then the first time during the scene where you start dying, the GM may have the Mysterious Savior appear, revive you, and then vanish. If you spend a luck point and the Mysterious Savior does not appear, the GM must refund the luck point you spent. When the stranger revives you, they immediately stabilize you as if they had succeeded at a first aid action. You're restored to consciousness, regain 4 HP, as if a stim pack had been used, and you're able to act again during the scene. Serendipity, I like this one. You get Luck 7, level 5 plus as requirements, but when your current HP is below 1/3 of your maximum, whenever you're attacked, you can spend 1 luck point before any dice are rolled to have the attack miss automatically. You can do this a number of times per scene equal to your rank in this perk. Each time you take this perk, the level requirement increases by 6. There you go, that's a peek at some of the perks. We have another great 2-page spread here. So we've got a little wasteland shop. We've got some cool weapons laid out. A bunch of ammo, knives, some grenades, crowbars and things, and maybe a little bit of a medical station there with some old school surgical tools. So the equipment chapter is pretty massive here, so I'm going to try and skim through it relatively quickly so you don't get bored out of your skulls, but you know how I can be with this stuff. I like to talk a lot. So we get new damage effects, which are actually the same as in the Settler's Guidebook. So we have Arc, so each effect rolled automatically hits 1 additional target within close range. You get half the roll damage, but you don't spend any additional ammo. Freeze. Enemies hit by this attack will be frozen if the number of effects rolled are equal to or more than half the target's endurance or half the target's body for creatures. And a frozen creature can't take actions on its next turn. We have some new qualities. So we have Ammo Hungry X, so they consume X ammo rather than 1 each time they fire. In addition, extra damage requires spending X ammo per 1 extra die, with a maximum number of die equal to the weapon's fire rate. Additional uses of ammunition, such as burst damage, etc., also spend X ammo for every 1 ammo that would normally be spent. You have bombards. You can deliver a series of explosions. So you do basically a blast quality, but when you make an attack, you can spend additional ammo to target additional zones. Each additional zone requires 2 ammunition to be spent. Additional zones must be adjacent to the initial target zone. Ammunition spent to target additional zones is limited by the weapon's fire rate. Then we have delay X, so this is basically a timer fuse. So a thrown delay weapon can be thrown normally to a target location where other delay weapons may be placed. Delay 1 detonates at the start of the first round after it's thrown. Delay 2 is the second round, yada yada yada. Placed weapons, so these are explosive devices placed in a location and set to detonate, often with the delay X quality or the remote quality. So you need a perception plus explosive test with a difficulty of 1 to place it, or it increases to 2 if you've been attacked since your last turn. Failure means the bomb hasn't been set properly and will not detonate, or if complication is rolled, may have been set improperly and may detonate unexpectedly. You also have recoil X. The weapon has a particularly ferocious kick when it fires, which might be too much for weaker users. If the user's strength score is less than X, then all attacks with the weapon increase in difficulty by 1. You can ignore this if you wield the weapon two-handed or if you're braced. And you have slow load, so after you fire the weapon, you have to spend an additional minor action to reload the weapon before you can fire it again. Then we have surge. This weapon is especially damaging to machines like robots and powered armor. The weapon gains the vicious damage effect against robots, enemies in power armor, and other mechanical or electronic targets such as turrets. Then we got some new types of ammo. So 357 Magnum ammo. We have 12.7mm ammo, 9mm 50 caliber balls, 25mm grenades, 40mm grenades, alien power cells, alien power modules, arrows, crossbow bolts, and plasma cores. All of these, of course, are described in more detail here. Some of them have some special rules available. So, for example, the 50 caliber ball, basically, even though it's used in old school muskets where you need to add gunpowder because there's no propellant in the ball, the need to provide gunpowder is ignored. Assume that whenever you find the ball ammunition, you find an appropriate amount of gunpowder too. So don't need to add more bookkeeping. Then you got 40mm grenades, which can be fired in launchers, and the 25mm grenade, which can be fired in smaller launchers. Acid concentrates, and all the others are described, but don't have much in the way of special rules. Then we have some special types of arrows and bolts. So you've got cryo arrows, so they gain the freeze damage effect. Explosive, gain the blast quality. Flaming, gain the persistent energy damage effect. Serrated, they gain persistent physical and piercing 1 damage effects. Plasma arrows, they get rigged with a modified fusion cell, inflicting +2 dice damage, and inflicts both physical and energy damage. The weapon is reduced by whichever physical or energy damage distance the target has less of. Finally, you have poison arrows, so the tip of the arrow infects organic material. The weapon gains the persistent poison damage effect. Then we got new syringer ammo, the Cazadores Sting. The weapon adds +2 dice damage and gains the persistent poison damage effect, but it costs quite a few caps, 75. Then we got some new small guns. We got Magnum revolvers, 12.7mm pistols and SMGs, 25mm grenade launchers, 9mm pistols, anti-material rifles, battle rifles, black powder blunderbusses, black powder pistols, black powder rifles, Gauss pistols, Gauss shotguns, lever action rifles, light machine guns, pump action shotguns, radium rifles, and sniper rifles. Quite a few vicious qualities here for the Magnum, the anti-material rifle, the blunderbuss, black powder pistol, and black powder rifle. Some piercing weapons, like with the Gauss weapons, and lever action rifle. The light machine gun does burst damage. Pump action shotgun does spread. Radium rifle is radioactive. Sniper rifle is piercing. Each of those are then described in detail where you get some info about the possible mods they can receive, which is always useful. But again, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but it's useful to have ever more equipment and different types of cool weapons you can use and try and get used to their quirks and apply them in interesting ways to your challenges you'll encounter during your wandering about the wasteland. Energy weapons. So, alien atomizers, alien disintegrators, arc welders, assaultron heads, microwave emitters, and Tesla rifles. They have all different varieties of damage here. The atomizer and disintegrator do quite a bit of damage, 6 and 8. Both have the vicious quality, but they cost a heck of a lot because they're alien weapons and therefore rare. The arc welder does stun damage, assaultron, piercing 1, microwave emitter, persistent piercing 3, and Tesla rifle does arc damage. Then each of these, once more laid out in detail, we've got some more mod details here. Tesla rifle, so this is a jury-rigged bunch of components mixed with advanced tech, and this shoots the deadly arcs of electricity. Then we have some big guns, 50 cal machine gun, auto grenade launcher, drone cannon, Gatling gun, Gatling plasma, Gauss minigun, plasma caster, and Tesla cannon. With big guns, you get big damage, a lot of 6, 7s, and 8s here. Bursting, breaking damage with effects with the auto grenade launcher and the drone cannon, burst and spread with the Gatling gun, burst with the Gatling plasma, burst and piercing with the Gauss minigun, burst with the plasma caster, and arc and piercing 2 with the Tesla cannon. Very cool. But Tesla cannon has ammo hungry, as does the drone cannon. The auto grenade launcher can do bombarding, which is pretty awesome. So we get to see some of those new traits in action. Of course, we have some new mods for these big weapons. We've got heavy barrels for the 50 cal machine gun, auto grenade launcher mods, which allows it potentially to also use the 25mm grenades as well. Gatling guns, these have a number of different mods. Barrel mods, receiver mods, grip mods, like remove recoil, increase fire rate, all this kind of useful stuff. But you need high ranks in gun nut to achieve these mods, and they've got the recipes down here. Now, something interesting that I noted here is that the Gatling plasma Now, it has a different set of mods here. Ported barrel, comfort grip, reflex sight, beam splitter, and beam focuser, which makes sense for a plasma weapon. But then the recipes here are actually the exact same list as for the Gatling gun. That's clearly a mistake. I'm waiting for Modiphius to send me my free PDF of this one. I bought it from a different store, but their PDF policy is that they will send you a free one, so long as you have proof of purchase, which I did. So I'm hoping that the PDF at least has been updated to give us the actual cost of the recipes for the Gatling plasma. Not that it's going to be a particularly common weapon, but I'd like to be able to use it if I have some wanderers in a future campaign. We've got the Gauss minigun. This one doesn't suffer from that error. It has its own proper set of recipes down here, along with these new mods. The gunner's sight lets you reroll the hit location die. That's always handy. We've got Plasma Caster, so they've got capacitor mods and barrel mods available, which again, we've got some recipes down here. They can gain Vicious, gain Surge, or +1 fire rate, or increase the range. Tesla Cannon, look at this monstrosity. It's a shoulder-mounted direct energy weapon, and a rare sight in the wastelands. Then we move on to bows. 3 damage, physical. Of course, the regular bow has a fire rate of 2, crossbow is 0. So the crossbow is slow loading as well. The bow, however, has recoil of 6, so you need to have some strength to wield that guy. So it's pluses and minuses on either side. Then you've got mods that you can do to your bow. You can make it a compound frame to add damage, lower the fire rate, and remove recoil. Sight mods, you can increase the range. Glow sights, so you can increase the range by 1 step and gain the accurate trait. And then there's the recipes here for the mods, of course. For crossbows, you can add iron sights to increase the range. Glow sights to increase the range by 1 step and gain accurate. You can get a heavy frame to add damage. Repeating frame to increase fire rate and remove slow load. So they always give some interesting choices, these mods here. Then we got our list of melee weapons. So we have Assaultron blades, auto axis, ballistic fists, bumper swords, cattle prods, chainsaws, death tambo, displacer gloves, guitar sword, sounds amazing, Mr. Handy buzzblade, multi-purpose axe, proton axe, and war drum. So the Assaultron blade is piercing, the auto axe is vicious, it's stun and vicious on the ballistic fist, which makes sense. Some of them have slow load, two-handed, guitar sword can parry and is piercing, that's cool. Proton axe is piercing 1, does energy damage, as does the cattle prod, and it can surge, and the war drum does stun physical damage. Now we have some mods for the Assaultron blade. You can electrify the blade to get +1 damage and change the damage type to energy. The auto axe, you can electrify it as well. You can change it to burning, so the damage type becomes energy and it gains persistent. You can make it poisoned, gain persistent poison, or you can make it turbo. So for each AP spent for extra damage, add 2 dice instead of 1. And we got the ballistic fist, bumper sword, cattle prod. Chainsaw has some mods. You can get a dual bar to get +2 damage, bow bar to gain piercing 1, a long bow bar to gain persistent, and a flamer to make it a flaming chainsaw. Wow. The guitar sword is a sword shaped like a guitar or a guitar that doubles as a sword. Either way, it probably needs to be tuned after a kill. So it's got a special thing. When you use to make a sneak attack, a guitar sword increases the complication range by 1 due to the sound it makes. That is still cool though. The war drum also has a special effect. When used to make a sneak attack, a war drum increases the complication by 1, again due to the sound it makes. Then we have our explosives. We've got cryogenic grenades and cryomines, which can freeze people. We've got detonators and dynamite. We've got a dynamite bundle, which is huge, 9 damage, but it's also delay X and placed, so we've got to deal with those aspects. We've got flashbangs, frag grenades, plastic explosives, 10 dive damage, breaking and piercing 1. Yikes. Powder charges, and smoke grenades. Presumably help you skedaddle away from danger. Detonators, yeah. So this is to trigger a placed explosive, removing the delay trait, and you can trigger it whenever you want. Dynamite bundles have the delay X quality, which you determine when you set it. If a flashbang hits, any character caught within the blast of a flashbang is stunned as per the stun damage effect. Plastic explosives, the rating of the delay quality is chosen when the bomb is placed. Powder charges, you can replace its mine quality with the delay X and place qualities. The rating of the delay quality is chosen when the bomb is placed. Finally, you got your smoke grenade, so it generates a cloud of smoke which fills the affected zone. Characters cannot see while within the cloud, nor can they see into or through the cloud from outside it, adding +2 difficulty to all attacks and perception-based tests made by or against anyone within the cloud. So definitely you can use those to block visibility. Then we've got additional weapon mods. So these are weapon mods that are in addition to those present in the core rulebook and the Settler's Guidebook. Got more small gun mods, armor-piercing receivers, armor-piercing automatic receivers, hardened automatic receivers, 9mm receivers, 357 receivers. So these allow you to use the new bullet types and stuff stuff like that. Then we have recipes for all of those. It also lists here which weapons can use these mods, which is handy. I do energy weapon mods as well. Gamma wave emitter to gain +1 damage and persistent. Maximized capacitor to +2 damage. Boosted photon agitator for +2 damage and gaining vicious. Boosted gamma wave emitter, +2 dice and gain persistent. Overcharged capacitor to gain +3 damage. Then you got barrel mods to increase range, gain things like burst or remove inaccurate or gain inaccurate to gain other things instead. And we have muzzle mods. Beam splitters allow you to gain spread but reduce the fire rate and range. Beam focusers increase the range and gain accurate. The gyrocompensating lens adds 2 to fire rate and removes inaccurate. And then it tells you which guns they could be applied to. These are the recipes for the barrel and muzzle mods here. Big gun mods, we have additional mods for the Gatling lasers. So gamma wave emitters, maximized capacitors, boosted photon agitators again, overcharged capacitors again. And then we have some new apparel. So we've got headgear, clothing, some outfits, and they have different damage resistance. Some have no damage resistances, but they do something, I guess. We got a spacesuit costume as well. 1 physical damage, 4 energy damage resistance, and 2 radiation damage resistance. Now, one complaint I noted on Drive-Thru-RPG was somebody said there's a Nuka Girl rocket suit described here, and it's not described in the list, and the reasoning, so far as I can tell, is that it's just a costume, so it doesn't really have any stats per se. You just wear it instead of your normal clothing, and it gives you the special ability, which allows you to reroll 1d20 on one charisma-based test you make each scene, as it helps make a good first impression. And the sealable space helmet built in allows you to breathe underwater or in any other place where the atmosphere isn't breathable. So I'm not sure that complaint is valid or not, but again, I'm interested to see if that is changed in the updated PDFs. So I'm curious if they'll add something to the table just to make people happy. I'm quite happy with it just being, just a thing you wear. And we got some new lining mods here that you can build. Treated lining for more physical energy and radiation damage resistance. Resistance lining for +2, +2, +1 in those categories respectively. Protective lining for +2, +1, +1 radiation, and you can use strength or perception rerolls twice per scene. Shielded lining, you get +3, +3, +1, and you may use strength or perception rerolls twice per scene. Then we have the recipes for those at the bottom. And we got some new armor, Chinese stealth armor, give you physical 4, energy 4, radiation 6, covering all locations. So it's a full body suit. You can reroll 1d20 on any sneak test. In addition, you may activate a stealth field by taking the interact minor action. It renders you and your equipment almost invisible. Enemies add +2 to the difficulty of all tests to spot you. They may still hear you or notice you in other ways. In addition, even if you've been detected while invisible, your defense is increased by +2. Making an attack disrupts the stealth field, shutting it down until you can reactivate it. Cannot be given any mods. There's also a diving suit. It's a bulky metal and rubber suit with a sustained air supply, so you can breathe underwater or in other inhospitable atmospheres and are immune to any damage inflicted by extreme pressure underwater, as well as any exposure to cold by cold water. Again, it can't be given any mods and is considered heavy armor. You get 3 physical, 3 energy, and 9 radiation damage resistance and covers every location. Legion armor, so they're all worn by Caesar's Legion, and they adhere to the uniformity and military principles of ancient Rome. So the basic form consists of sports equipment with a few scrap additions for protection. So all Legion armor material mods are installed with the repair skill. And then we got all the different pieces here. So the recruits, you have a legionary above that, and then centurion, and the best quality piece, I guess, the legatus helmet. Gives you 553 in physical energy and radiation damage resistance. Then there's some material mods you can do, but they add still just to physical and energy. Then we got marine armor. So this is from the United States Marine Corps before the Great War, commonly worn over a marine wetsuit. You get quite a bit of physical and energy resistance at 4 for each location, but only 2 radiation damage, but still that's better than nothing. And then you can add material mods to increase those numbers by quite a bit, all the way up to +4 in each location if you have armor or 2 and you choose buttressed. Then you got recon armor worn by the Brotherhood of Steel. It's a padded flame retardant jumpsuit and hood designed to be worn underneath the T-45 power armor. Gives you physical 3, energy 3, radiation 3, and covers all locations, and does not accept mods. We have the scout armor. The masks can't be modded. Mods applied to the torso armor are doubled in weight and cost, and they have to be installed with the repair skill. Okay. Reinforced, shadowed, fiberglass, or polymer. None of them give you increased radiation protection, unfortunately. Then you have robot armor, which is not made for robots. It's made from robots. So it's typically produced by tech-savvy raider groups like the Rust Devils. Helmets are often the repurposed outer shells of iBots, Assaultron heads, or Sentry Robot heads. They can only accept a material mod, and you have to double the cost for torso mods. And then we have wood armor. So it's constructed from sections of tree bark and rope, fashioned into a crude set of armor. Each piece just gives you 1 physical damage resistance, and that's it. You can mod the material to make it shrouded, to give you shadowed quality. Apparently, that's the only mod you can accept with wooden armor. Then we've got the Excavator Power Armor. It's a EXC-17 Excavator suit developed by Garahan Mining Co. A character wearing a full suit of Excavator Power Armor increases their carry weight by 100. In addition, when extracting ore, each Excavator arm piece worn adds +2 die to the quantity of ore found, for a maximum of +4 die with both arms. Each piece of power armor can accept the normal system mods on page 144 of the core rulebook. You get a ton of radiation resistance, so you get 11 with the chest piece and 8 with the other pieces, plus physical and energy resistance as well, so that's pretty badass. Then there's a little sidebar here about mining and excavation. So you can find additional materials. You can find aluminium ore, coal, copper ore, crystal, gold ore, iron ore, silver ore, or uranium ore, and you gain a certain amount of quantity, and that grants you a certain type of salvage. Then we've got Hellcat Power Armor, used by the Hellcat Company, a mercenary outfit from the pit. So again, you get really nice radiation protection and physical protection from these, and a bit of energy protection, slightly less. They get +1 to physical damage resistance against ranged attacks, and they can accept the normal mods. And you get T-65. So this was used by the remnants of the United States Secret Service operating from certain strategically important vaults across the wasteland. Very high resistances, and they could accept normal mods as well. Pretty cool power armor stuff available here. Now we get legendary items. This is a new thing. So across the wasteland, there are some unique items of unusual craftsmanship, strange design, rare materials, or notorious reputation, odd properties, or some combination of the above. So if you defeat a legendary creature or a major character, one item in their possession will be a legendary item. So similarly, when you perform a quest or otherwise help a major character, they may grant a legendary item as a reward. A legendary item has a special property, and there's an assortment of properties for legendary weapons and legendary armor presented below. So there's a couple of unusual aspects here to take note of. So small guns with the blast quality, which can happen under these rules, are treated as big guns for the purposes of legendary weapons. Machine guns, the Gatling gun, and minigun are treated as small guns rather than big guns for the purpose of legendary weapons. So to create a legendary weapon, you first determine the weapon being made legendary. So you roll 1d20, choose either the first or the second table. Then you roll another d20 to determine which property the weapon receives according to the weapon's type. So table 1, you have all these different properties: assassins, something, berserker, something, blazing, bloodied, charge, crippling, deadeye, freezing, furious, etc. Then table 2, once again, you do the same thing. Note that unarmed weapons don't get a lot of these. They stop at 12, as do melee weapons. Big guns, energy weapons, and small guns get access to a lot of these. And we have a bunch of new legendary qualities, so I'll just pick out a few here to read. Assassin's weapon is deadly against humans. Against human characters, you gain the vicious damage effect. If you already have vicious, then you instead inflict +2 damage per effect rather than +1. Human characters include anybody from the Brotherhood of Steel, Survivor, or Vault Dweller origins, an NPC with the human keyword but without the mutated keyword. Blazing weapon. When you use the defend action and is missed by a melee attack, the attacker immediately suffers 4 dice persistent energy damage. Wow. Charged weapon, so this is for melee weapons. If you use the defend action and is missed by a melee attack, the attacker immediately suffers 4 dice stun energy damage. Crippling weapons, when this weapon is used to attack a target's arm or leg, it causes an injury if it inflicts 4 or more damage in one hit after reduction for damage resistance. Defiant weapon is deadly to the last shot. Once per scene, when you spend the maximum amount of ammo for the weapon's fire rate, you may declare that the weapon is empty after that attack. If you do so, the weapon inflicts +2 dice damage, but you must spend a minor action to reload the weapon before it can be fired again. Wow, there's a bunch of these. We get Exterminator. What's that? Okay. Especially deadly against insects and other bugs. Against insects, arachnids, and mirelurks, attacks with this weapon gain Vicious. If you already have Vicious, then it's +2 damage per effect rolled. Freezing weapons, you can spend a luck point to add the freeze damage effect on a hit. A frigid weapon, so this is the same basic idea, but it's a melee weapon. And when you're using defend and are missed, the attacker immediately suffers 4 dice freeze energy damage. Ghoul Slayer. Ghouls attack with this weapon gain the vicious damage effect, or +2 per effect rolled if you already have vicious. Incendiary weapons. Basically, that weapon gains the persistent energy damage effect. Radiated, of course, gives the weapon the radioactive damage effect. Junkie weapon, that's interesting. So when this weapon is used to make an attack, it inflicts +1 dice damage for each addiction you're suffering from. A kneecapper, when used to make an attack against target's leg, it causes a critical hit if it inflicts 3 or more damage after damage reduction. So that's not very much. Take out people's legs pretty easy. Nimble, if you take the aim action with this weapon, you may also take a move minor action for free. Well, that's nice. Penetrating weapons get piercing 2. If the weapon is already piercing, then you increase the piercing damage effect by +2. Poisoner, obviously you gain the persistent poison damage effect. Powerful or mighty weapons get +2 dice of damage. Let's see, rapid weapons get +3 fire rate. You can take the fire rate above 6, which is the normal limit. Relentless, when you inflict a critical hit on the enemy, you may spend one luck point to immediately regain any AP you spent on that attack. Steadfast, when you take the aim minor action, you increase your physical damage resistance by +2 to the start of your next turn. Troubleshooters, against robots. Attacks with this weapon gain the vicious damage effect, or +2 damage per effect if you already have vicious. Wounding. The weapon gains the persistent physical damage effect. Then for legendary armor as well, we've got new stuff. So just one table for this. First, determine the piece being made legendary: head, arm, torso, or leg. Then roll 1d20 to determine which property the armor receives based on the location. If it covers multiple locations, then choose one of the covered locations to receive the benefit. You can spend a luck point to adjust the result up to or down by an amount equal to your luck score. Acrobat. While wearing the armor, have any damage caused by falling after any reduction for damage resistance. If you're wearing 2 pieces of Acrobat's armor, you no longer suffer any falling damage at all. Assassins, you get +2 damage resistance and energy damage resistance against attacks from human enemies. Bolstering. While wearing this armor, you get +2 physical and energy resistance to all hit locations when your current HP is less than half your maximum HP. This increases to +3 physical and energy DR when your current HP is less than a quarter of your maximum HP. Chameleon. When you're hidden and not moving while wearing this armor, enemies attempting tests to find you add +1 to the difficulty. Nice. Champion armor. Once per scene, when you're wearing this armor, you may take 1 die from your dice pool before rolling on any strength or endurance test you attempt and set it so that it counts as rolling a 1. Oh, cool. Cloaking. Once per scene, when you're hit by a melee attack, you become invisible. This functions like a stealth boy from the core rulebook. Cunning. Once per scene, you may take 1 die from your dice pool before rolling on any agility or perception test you attempt. Set it so that it counts as rolling a 1. Cool. Hunters, you get +2 physical DR and energy DR against attacks from mammal or lizards. Lucky armor. Once per day, when you spend a luck point to reroll die, you may instead count a d20 you would have rerolled so that it counts as rolling a 1, or any damage die you would have rerolled as if they had rolled effects. Mutant Slayers, +2 physical damage resistance and energy DR against attacks from super mutant enemies. +4 poison damage resistance for poisoners armor. Rad powered. Once per scene, when you're wearing this armor and have 1 or more radiation damage, you may take 1d20 from your dice pool on any strength test and set it so that it counts as rolling a 1. You may do this 1 additional time per scene for every 5 radiation damage you have. Sharp. Once per scene, when you're wearing this armor, you may take 1d20 from your dice pool on any int or charisma test you attempt and set it so that it counts as rolling a 1. Wearing Sprinter's armor keeps you mobile. When you would spend 1 or more AP to cross difficult terrain or obstacles, reduce the AP cost by 1 to a minimum of 0. Then we've got, finally, Unyielding. So while wearing this armor, when your current HP are below 1/4 of your maximum HP, you may reroll 1d20 on any test you attempt. And we've also got some rare books and magazines. So when you discover a book or magazine during looting or when trading with someone else, instead of rolling on the random publication table in the core rulebook, you can spend a luck point to discover a rare book. Some are found in the form of holotapes rather than books, but they're all treated the same way in-game. A rare book contains a rare perk, so it grants the character access to a perk which is not normally available to characters when they level up. A character who has gained access to a rare perk may select that perk when they level up. Blood Sacrifice. When you're reduced to 0 HP, all other party members gain +2 physical and energy DR and immediately regain 4 HP. At rank 2, increase HP gain by 2. At rank 3, increase the amount of physical and energy DR +3 each, and increase the amount of HP gain by a further +2. So this perk starts at level 6+, and level requirement increases by 6 each time you take it. Brawling Chemist. Rare perk, level 11+. You've discovered the recipe to a potent combat stimulant, Super Chem Mark 1, which makes you far tougher and deadlier in a fight with few drawbacks. Becomes useless after a matter of hours. At rank 1, it's 6 hours. At rank 2, 12. At rank 3, 24. Each time you take the perk, the level requirement increases by 5. Cool, and here's the details on the Super Chem Mark 1. So you get to reroll 1d20 on strength test, +2 damage to melee damage, and +3 physical DR. It's not addictive as well, so that's handy. And then there's a crafting recipe as well. You can also have collateral damage, rare perk, level 9+. When you kill an enemy with a melee weapon, you may spend a luck point to make them explode. If they explode, roll a number of dice equal to half your melee weapon's damage rating and round down. For each effect rolled, one creature within close range of the exploded enemy suffers physical damage equal to the total rolled on the dice. Detonation Contagion. When you kill an enemy with a thrown explosive, you may spend a luck point to make them explode. Roll a number of dice equal to half your explosive's weapon damage. For each effect rolled, one creature within close range suffers physical damage equal to the total rolled on the die. Resolve exploding enemies after you finish resolving the attack with the explosive weapon. Follow through. When you succeed at a ranged attack against an enemy, all attacks against that enemy until the start of your next turn inflict +1 damage. At rank 2, +2 dice damage. At rank 3, +3 dice damage. And each time you take it, the level requirement increases by 8. Master Infiltrator. When you attempt to unlock a lock using a lockpick test, you can spend 1 luck point to automatically succeed a test of a certain difficulty or lower. Rank 1, you automatically succeed at difficulty 1. Rank 2, it's 2. Rank 3, it's 3. Each time you take the perk, the level requirement increases by 8. I think I remember another complaint that this wasn't listed. Yeah, it doesn't seem that Master Infiltrator appears as a rare perk from these rare books, but you know what, you could just throw it in somewhere. It's really not a big deal. Again, I think that'll be fixed in the errata, I would assume. Nuclear Perforator. Rare perk level 11 plus. You've discovered the plans for a type of lightweight nuclear warhead. Each time you take this perk, level requirement increases by 6. So you get a lightweight mini nuke, explosive, damage rating 6. It's radioactive. It has the blast and thrown qualities. And you can craft it from a frag grenade and 2 rare radioactive materials. Power Armor Reboot, rare perk level 10 plus. Once per day, if you're reduced to 0 HP while wearing power armor, you may spend 1 luck point to immediately be revived, regaining all your HP and half of any HP lost on your power armor. Sizzling Style. When you're wearing a full set of a single type of armor, you gain an additional plus 5 energy DR, which only applies against fire. Survival Shortcut. You've discovered the recipe to a potent medicine. It's a rare perk level 11 plus. Called the Survival Syringe, which seems like a miracle cure-all, but it has a short lifespan. So what does it do? It heals 4 HP, cures all illnesses, restores hunger and thirst states to full. Wow, cool. So at rank 1, it lasts 6 hours. At rank 2, 12 hours. At rank 3, 24 hours. And each time you take it, this perk level requirement increases by 5. What Rads? Rare perk level 9 plus. Radiation DR is increased by plus 5. Also heal 1 radiation damage each time you heal 1 more HP. So typo for you. There's quite a few, actually, unfortunately, in the book. We got some new irradiated food items. Some of them have some cool effects. Honey Cake gives you plus 3 radiation DR. Mega Slaw Steak, plus 2 to physical and energy DR until the end of the scene. Mongrel Ribs, until the end of the scene, you may see in complete darkness. Dim lighting and darkness no longer impose difficulty to you. Scorch Beast Stew adds plus 3 to radiation DR until the end of the next scene. And it talks a little bit about these different delicacies. Hermit Crab Meat, Mongrel Ribs, Lure Weed. When you really think about what people are eating and doing in this place, it's really quite disturbing. Now you have a recipe list for your cooking station if you want to make all this stuff, which is handy. Then got some new stuff to do with junk. So for players and GMs who want a bit more detail on their scavenging and salvaging, they've got in-depth junk tables. So the items in this section have little immediate benefit beyond amusement or nostalgia, but they're still potentially valuable for the materials they're made from. They have no rules effect on their own, but they can be found and broken down into useful materials. So first, unless you're directed to roll on a specific junk table, roll on a table below to determine which junk table you're rolling on. We got animal products and food, household items 1, 2, 3, and 4, sporting equipment, science and tech, medical equipment, and workplace items. And all of these have the subtables to roll on. Okay, cool. So then you can get some stuff that breaks down into some useful other components like leather, acid, antiseptic, bone, nuclear materials from rat, scorpion, stingers. Household items, you can get various components from those. Wow, there's a lot of household items. 4 tables for those. I'm not going to go through all that. Anyway, it's more fun to discover this stuff by yourself, I think. Dumbbells and weights, you get 5 dice worth of lead. Science and tech, you can get circuitry and plastic from circuit boards. High-tech gadgets give you 1 die fiber optics, 1 die asbestos, 1 glass, and 2 circuitry. Any effects, 1 nuclear material. Medical equipment, there's some stuff that's already in the core rulebook, as well as some new stuff. You can get workplace items, which have things like steel, glass, copper, screws. And then salvage. So salvaging items takes 10 minutes per item and requires an int plus repair test with difficulty of 0. Success yields 1 unit of a single component material used in making the item, determined by the GM. Okay, consumable items cannot be salvaged, and you can't salvage ammunition. So we have a new salvage table here. The names, cost, weight, and rarity of the different materials that you can salvage. Now we get to vehicles. So first, how to operate a vehicle. When you're inside, you're referred to as a passenger. Some passengers take on specific roles, and they are referred to as crew. So crew roles are basically pilot and gunner, but there could be other roles if you have like a radio thing in there, or there could be a bombardier, or a single character can attempt to simultaneously assume the roles of both gunner and pilot, but their attack rolls and tests to pilot the vehicle are both made at +1 difficulty unless it has the single seat quality. The vehicle can also carry a number of passengers, including the crew as noted in its entry. Unlike characters, a vehicle cannot naturally carry extra items based on its strength or scale, as a vehicle needs places to stow those items in order to carry them. Additional cargo space is covered by the cargo X quality. Items can be stored in passenger space instead of passengers. Each passenger space can carry up to 200 pounds of items. Similarly, passengers can ride along in cargo space, with each passenger taking up 200 space of items. Okay, passengers in cargo space may suffer an additional 2 dice damage from any impacts the vehicle suffers. Okay, there are different maneuvers available to the vehicle pilot. So a minor maneuver, you move anywhere within close range. Careful piloting, you move a number of zones equal to half the vehicle's speed rounding up. If required to make a terrain test, reduce the difficulty by 1. Then you have hasty piloting. You move a number of zones equal to the speed. All tests made by crew or passengers are made at +1 difficulty until the start of the pilot's next turn. Defensive piloting. You move a number of zones equal to speed -1. You then make an agility plus pilot test with a difficulty equal to the vehicle's size. If successful, the vehicle's defense increases by +1. Then you have focused driving, major action. Make an agility plus pilot test with a difficulty of 1. On success, the vehicle moves a number of zones equal to a speed plus an additional zone for each AP spent. All tests made by crew or passengers are made at +1 difficulty until the start of the pilot's next turn. turn. So vehicles move in zones like any other combatant in an action scene. Vehicles, however, do not maneuver like characters do, and some zone effects may affect different vehicle types differently, and they go through how that works. And then there's a sidebar here about being out of control. So a failed vehicle terrain test can lead to different results. You might come to an immediate stop. Each character immediately suffers 3 dice stun damage. You can skid. You roll a d6, and depending on the results, you'll go left, forward, or right based on the vehicle's direction of travel. If you collide with an object, inflict 1 die piercing 1 physical damage plus 1 die for each zone you moved. You also spin, lose the rest of the movement, and you get turned to face a different direction. The next vehicle movement increases in difficulty by +1. You can get stuck and be held in place by the terrain, or you can plummet. So if you're an aircraft, you descend in a rapid and uncontrolled manner. You move 1 zone forward and 3 zones down, and crashes if it reaches a ground level zone before then. If the aircraft crashes, it suffers 4 die piercing 2 physical damage plus 2 dice for each zone it moved before crashing. All passengers on board suffer this damage as well. Then you got vehicular attacks. So vehicle gunners can make attacks with mounted weapons in the same way as a personal weapon, using whatever skill applies to the weapon. You cannot carry these weapons normally or fire them without being mounted on a stand or vehicle first. All weapons mounted upon a vehicle are treated as if wielded in 2 hands and ignore the recoil X quality. If the vehicle has the exposed quality, then passengers may make attacks with their own weapons normally. When an attack is made against a vehicle, it's always considered to be defense 1 if it's moving, or defense 0 while stationary. When you make a successful attack against a vehicle with the exposed quality, you can spend 2 AP to hit an exposed passenger instead. Attacks with the blast quality against exposed passengers will hit both the vehicle and passengers. Attack with the arc or burst damage effects, which target an exposed vehicle, can treat the passengers as additional targets. You can also ram, so you attempt a melee attack against a target within reach using the pilot's endurance plus pilot with a difficulty of 1. If the attack is successful, it deals the vehicle's impact rating as damage. When a vehicle rams another vehicle, the attacking vehicle suffers half the impact rating, rounding up in physical damage. So vehicles can be targeted for an attack like any other combatant and lose HP just as a character or creature. Vehicles have physical DR and energy DR just as creatures do, but just like robots, they are immune to rad damage and poison damage. When attacking a vehicle, roll on the vehicle's hit location table, which will be included in the stat block, to determine where it's hit. A vehicle reduced to 0 HP suffers a critical hit and also stops working, going out of control if it moved in the previous turn. When a vehicle suffers damage from an attack, add its scale to the amount of damage needed to inflict a crit. For a scale 1 vehicle, it takes 6 plus damage from a single attack to inflict a critical hit. Okay, so vehicles can be repaired though in the same way as robots. If a vehicle has been reduced to 0 HP and has more injuries than its scale, then the vehicle is destroyed. At best, it can be stripped for parts and materials. One of those injuries was to the engine, and the vehicle will explode at the end of the next round, inflicting 6 dice radioactive energy damage to everyone within close range as the vehicle's power supply detonates. Okay, then you have different critical hits vary based on the location. Chassis critical hits add +2 damage to the attacks against vehicle after it has suffered this attack, as it weakens the structure of the vehicle. Engine critical hits result in a fire. The vehicle suffers 3 dice energy damage at the end of each subsequent turn, ignoring resistance. For each effect rolled, the damage also affects a single random passenger. Weapon critical hits disable weapon systems. A vehicle critical hit prevents the weapon hit from being used. Wheel critical hits make the vehicle harder to control. Pilot tests increase in difficulty by +1. The vehicle's speed is reduced by 1. The same applies to wing and rudder criticals for aircraft. Whenever a vehicle suffers 1 or more critical hits, each passenger suffers 4 dice stun physical damage. If a vehicle is reduced to 0 HP, each passenger suffers 8 dice stun damage. Passengers riding in a cargo hold space add +2 dice to these damage values. Vehicle AP spends, you can ram through for 2 AP. After failing a terrain test, continue moving forward as if the terrain test had not failed. The vehicle suffers damage determined by the GM, or for 2 AP you can target a passenger. After a successful attack, you can target a passenger inside of an exposed vehicle instead of vehicle. Alright, then we get a summary of the vehicle profiles and a summary of the types of qualities they can have. So cargo X mean they can carry up to X pounds of additional cargo. Cumbersome, the vehicle is bulky and unresponsive, so move tests are increased by 1 difficulty. Enclosed, the passenger and crew are inside, cannot be targeted from attacks outside the vehicle, but also can't use their own weaponry, and they don't suffer radiation damage from environmental effects. If they're exposed, then the passengers can be targeted, but they can also attack with their own weapons. If it's high performance, the vehicle is powerful and finely tuned. The pilot can spend 2 AP to move the vehicle 1 additional zone. Any test to repair the vehicle increases the difficulty by +1. Rugged, so that reduces the difficulty to repair by 1. Single seat can be operated by a single pilot who is also a gunner but doesn't have to suffer the penalty. Flying vehicle flies through the air, moving through empty zones above the ground level. If the vehicle goes out of control, roll 1 die. It falls a number of zones equal to the number rolled and will crash if that would bring it to ground level or if an effect is rolled. If the aircraft crashes, it suffers 8 die, piercing 2 physical damage. Then you have watercraft. Travels only on water. It cannot travel along ground at all. If the vehicle suffers a chassis critical hit, it begins to take on water and will sink after a number of rounds equal to twice the vehicle's scale. Any vehicle with a scale above 4 may take up multiple zones and have their internal space divided into several zones. Okay, then we have common vehicles. Cool. So we got cars. We got a scale of 2, HP 28. They provide 2 dice of cover, speed of 2, 50 miles per hour, passengers 5, impact damage is 5 dice, and then they have their hit location table here, and their physical and energy DRs for each location. Sports cars, they've got speed of 3, only 2 passengers, impact damage of 6, and less HP, but they've got similar physical and energy DRs. And they've got the high performance in addition to cargo 100 and exposed, and they've got reduced cargo here at 50. A motorcycle, they've got cargo 25. They're obviously exposed and single seater. HP only 10, speed of 2, passengers 2, and impact of 4 dice. We've got pickup trucks, scale 2 again, more cover though with 3 dice, speed of 2, passengers of 3, and impact 7 die because they're big. We've got a lot more physical and energy DR, cargo 200, exposed, and rugged. Buses, you get cargo 400 and exposed, 40 HP, scale 3, so they're big, cover 3 dice, speed 2, passengers 30, an impact of 8 dice. Armored truck, scale 2, HP 32, 3 passengers, impact 8 dice, a lot of physical and energy DR, cargo 400 and enclosed. Armored personnel carriers, APCs, scale 3, enclosed, 6 passengers, plus 2 in power and armor, impact of 9 dice, wow, and huge physical and energy DRs, especially for the chassis there. They can carry 500 cargo, exposed, and rugged qualities. They also have 105mm cannon with 11 die of damage, wow, and the accurate quality, and 2 miniguns, 3 die of damage with burst and spread, the Gatling and inaccurate qualities, but they got a fire rate of 5. Then we have the Vertibird Flyer, scale of 4, HP 70, speed 6, 500 miles an hour, 8 passengers, 10 impact dice damage. They got different hit location die with pretty good resistances on the wings, which is helpful. They've got nose guns, twin 50 cal machine guns, 7 damage, burst, physical, and they've got a door gun of Gatling laser, 3 dice, burst, piercing 1, energy damage with the Gatling and inaccurate qualities. Wow. Now, finally, we get to the bestiary. Look at these horrible things. So this bestiary is all about legendary death machines, essentially. I'm not going to go super into detail, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. But there's some great guidance here on creating legendary creatures. So you want to take a normal creature and make them legendary. You change their type from normal to legendary. The level remains the same, but you multiply the XP by 3. You add +2 to body and mind, and that may affect their other scores like HP, initiative, and attacks. Multiply HP by 3. Keep all existing special abilities, but also gain a distinct legendary ability from the list on page 140. They add a single legendary weapon or piece of legendary armor to their inventory. And if you want to create a legendary creature from a mighty creature, you can do a similar process with them. For GMs more familiar with the way Fallout 2D20 works, it's possible to use the guidelines to create creatures from scratch of any level, or to adjust existing creatures to different levels as desired, which is useful. And they have guidance about creating major characters. So you change the creature's type from normal character to major character. Level is the same, multiply the XP by 3, give the character a name, because they should be noteworthy. Add +14 points to their special attributes as you see fit. They also have luck points equal to their luck attribute. They get 2 additional tag skills, which are rated at 2 initially. In addition, if the character's int is increased, they will have additional skills points to spend. Change all their derived stats and increase their initiative by +4. Increase their maximum HP by an amount equal to twice their luck score, and then give them a distinct legendary ability or 2 additional perks. And of course, you will gain a legendary weapon or legendary armor in the inventory, and then you can make major characters from notable characters as well through a similar procedure. Then, juicy stuff, you've got your legendary creature abilities. So these abilities all function in 2 ways. First, they have a constant effect that always applies. Second, they have a mutation. So a legendary creature or major character mutates the first time they're reduced to below their maximum HP. So it's like when you get bloodied in D&D 4e, for those of you who actually played it. So once you get bloodied, you would have creatures get sort of a secondary phase, and that's what happens here. So they can be cruel, for example. They gain 1 luck point each time it inflicts a critical hit. When this creature mutates, add the vicious damage effect to all its attacks, and if any attack already is vicious, instead increase that attack's damage by +2 dice. Wow. It can be explosive. This only has an effect when they mutate, so it enters a self-destructive state. All the creature's melee attacks gain the radioactive damage effect, and when it's reduced to 0 HP, it explodes, inflicting 12 dice radioactive energy damage to everything in close range. Oh my god. All the loot and stuff can still be recovered, but tests may do so increasing difficulty by +2. Legendary proficiency. So select one of the character's tag skills. Whenever they attempt a test, they gain 1 automatic success in addition to any rolls. When they mutate, tests using the chosen tag skill now score 2 automatic successes. Wow. Radioactive. So the creature is immune to radiation damage if it wasn't already. In addition, all melee attacks gain the radioactive damage effect. Then when the creature mutates, its damaged body leaks even more radiation. Any creature within close range at the start of their turn suffers 5 dice, piercing 1 radiation damage. Rage heal. They regain 3 HP at the start of each turn. When the creature mutates, it immediately heals back to maximum HP. Oh no. An endless loop. Okay, Stalker. The creature gains 1 automatic success on all sneak tests or tests to move, hide or move silently, and its initiative is increased by +2, while in shadow, some form of concealment, its defense is increased by +1. When it mutates, it becomes invisible as if it had activated a stealth boy. Toxic. So the melee attacks gain persistent poison. Further, choose one of the following damage effects: radioactive, stun, or vicious. Persistent poison damage is counted as having the chosen damage effect. Then when the creature mutates, it exudes toxic fumes. Anyone within reach of this creature at the start of its turn suffers 5 dice poison damage. And that also has the damage effect that you chose earlier. The Tyrant. So if this creature is accompanied by 1 or more normal creatures, there is 1 extra creature if it is the same level as a legendary creature, 2 extra creatures if they are 1 or 2 levels lower, or 3 extra creatures if they are 3 or more levels lower. When the creature mutates, additional creatures arrive as reinforcements. The type and number of reinforcements is the same as the number of extra creatures noted above. There's some character templates. So these are kind of simple templates you can apply to make a creature more badass. Seem to apply across different species, but you can only have 1 template at a time. So the alpha is the leader of a pack. So you add some stuff to body, mind, skills, initiative, HP, or body. Add either +1 to a DR on all locations or +1 die to 1 attack. They gain the aggressive and leader of the pack abilities. And leader of the pack creature leads a group of its kind. All normal creatures of the same kind and lower within close range may reroll 1d20 on all tests while this creature is alive. Then we got glowing. The creature has absorbed so much radiation and somehow survived that its body glows. Glowing ones, feral ghouls who have had this happen to them, are particularly infamous as they heal other ghouls nearby, but they are far from the only glowing creature out in the wasteland. So you can't be a robot because they're not affected by radiation, but everything else can use these. The creature gains the glowing and immune to radiation abilities. Glowing means the creature inflicts 2 die radiation damage to anyone within reach of it at the start of its turns. In addition, any melee attack it makes gains the radioactive damage effect. If it already had this, it instead inflicts 2 radiation damage per effect rolled. It's also immune to all radiation damage and cannot suffer any damage or effects from radiation. And we got other templates: rabid, scorched. And then we have some animals and insects for our first creature entries. We've got a level 14 albino rad scorpion. It's got way too many eyeballs here. So it's level 14 mighty creature, 204 XP, body and mind of 11 and 6 respectively, melee of 5, HP 78. Fizz and energy DR of 6 and 5 respectively. 6 damage claws with vicious. The sting, 7 dice persistent poison damage. Immune to rads, immune to poison. It's big, so it's harder to crit, but easier to hit. It can burrow under the ground. It can regenerate from solar energy. Target its head. You can ignore the creature's DR. Then you can get some cool stuff if you butcher it. We've got the angler, mutated anglerfish walking about. Normal creature. So he's got a body and mind of 9 and 7 respectively. 4 melee, 5 guns, 4 other. HP 24. Fizz and energy DR of 4 and 6 respectively. Can spit for 7 dice persistent energy damage. Or it can bite for 6 dice piercing 1 physical. Immune to rads, immune to poison. It's amphibious. It's a patient predator. So it can lie in wait and hide. And then it needs a difficulty of 3 to spot an angler lying in wait. If undetected, they can make a sneak attack when the prey comes within close range. We've got the cave cricket. They're pretty good eating, though, according to locals. Their powerful legs are providing rich and lean meat, high in protein and radiation. Level 2 mutated insect, normal creature, 17 HP. So not a big deal. 6 body, 3 mind, 2 melee, 8 HP, 3 fizz DR, 0 energy, immune to rads, 2 poison DR. We've got an impaling horn for 4 piercing, 1 physical. Bite for 3 dice physical. They can leap, move up to 1 zone when it uses the impaling horn, adding 1 to the damage. Also has keen senses. Cave cricket piercer. So these are level 5, so they are greenish rather than tan colored, faster, stronger, and more aggressive. So they've got a body and mind of 7 and 4, melee 3 rather than 2, more HP, 4 physical DR, and 1 energy DR. Rad and poison DR the same as before. Impaling horn does 5 already. The bite does 4 dice. The leap brings up the impaling horn to 6. So yeah, just a little bit tougher. Then we've got the Cazador. So these are not, in fact, the result of radioactive mutation. They were engineered in the Big Mountain Research and Development Center. They're a mutated insect. Looks pretty horrifying. Body 8, mind 5, melee 4, other 3, 13 HP. We've got a stinger for 8 dice persistent poison damage. They're immune to radiation damage, immune to poison. They can fly. They've got the evade ability. If they use the sprint action, they increase defense by +1 until the start of its next turn. Got a potent sting. Whenever the Cazador hits with its stinger, it's treated as if one effect is rolled. Any additional effects rolled are counted as normal. They're small, so their HP decreases to body plus half a level, but its defense increases by 1. It is slain by any hit 8, which inflicts an injury. So that's helpful at least. They're pretty nasty. Oh, look at that. Deathclaw Matriarch. Level 20 legendary creature. Our first legendary creature back here. HP 156, body 12, mind 10, melee 5, guns 5, other 5. Claws with 12 dice, vicious piercing 2 physical damage, slam 8 dice stun physical damage, heavy object 8 dice stun physical damage, throwing. They've got 8 physical DR, 10 energy DR, immune to rads, 10 poison DR. So they're big, of course. They've got keen senses. They can rend, so they can increase the difficulty of a claw attack by +1. If it succeeds, the attack damage is increased by +2 dice. So that'd be 14 dice for the claws. Massive strength. They can lift and throw objects as large as a car. Matriarchal fury. Once per combat, they can channel all its rage at its nest being disturbed into a supernatural burst of energy. For the next round, all attacks made by the Deathclaw Matriarch have the breaking damage effect. Again, we've got a typo there. Come on, guys. Aggressive. And we have a Pack Mother as a minor action. The Deathclaw Matriarch may spend 2 AP to command another Deathclaw within close range to perform a major action immediately. They're also immune to fear. Okay, Deathclaws that share a scene with the Deathclaw Matriarch are inspired by its presence. As long as they can see or hear it, they gain +2 to mind and gain immune to fear. When the Deathclaw Matriarch reaches half its total hit points, all Deathclaws within medium range spend 1 less AP when buying bonus D20s for the remainder of the scene. So you can get some Deathclaw meat and Deathclaw eggs if you push them. We've got a floater. So what happens when a flatworm is exposed to the forced evolutionary virus? You get this crazy ass looking thing. It's a mutated invertebrate, body 7, mind 4, guns 3, other 2. They've got 20 HP, 1 DR for physical, energy, rad, and poison. They have a flaming attack, 3 dice, burst, persistent, spread, energy damage, debilitating and inaccurate. That's a lot of tags there. Combust, 5 dice, persistent energy damage with blast and delay 2. It also can ambush, hiding underground, with its tongue protruding from the earth, emitting a bright cloud of color. You can spot them with an in+ survival test of difficulty 2. Shock tactics. So if it bursts out from its ambush, all creatures within close who are unaware of the floater make an endurance + survival with a difficulty of 2. Each creature that failed suffers a +1 difficulty on attacks made against the floater and its allies. It floats above the ground, obviously, and is unaffected by difficult terrain or obstacles. When it's reduced to 0 HP, it clutches its head and lets out a shriek as its gas sac expands. Uses its major action to combust. This attack is centered upon itself and kills the floater. The mutant friend ability. They're friendly to super mutants unless hurt by them. Super mutants gain 1 automatic success on any charisma-based test that involves taming or instructing the creature. It has the anatomy of a flatworm. As such, all hit locations other than the head count as torso hits. Okay, you can also get some flamer fuel if you bust this thing up and salvage from it. Gator Claw is a mighty creature created by Dr. Darren McDermott, resident biologist at Nuka World Safari Adventure Replication Facility. Body 11, mind 5, level 11, HP 66, physical and energy DR of 6, immune to rads, poison DR of 9, and has the special ability Diver. It can swim and submerge itself for up to 11 rounds, equal to his body stat, before needing to come up for air. They suffer no difficulty increase for attacks and movements made underwater. They note that this uses the same base stats as the Death Claw and can be repurposed with some minor changes. We've got geckos, just level 2, mutated geckos, body 5, mind 4, melee 2, HP 9, no resistances whatsoever. Bite is 3 dice physical damage. They can dive like the gator claw. Giant ants, normal creature, level 3, body 6, mind 4, melee 3, other 3, HP 9, 1 physical and energy DR, immune to rads and poison, and their bite does 4 dice physical damage. They can frenzy. If they get hit in the head, get injured, they go into a pained frenzy and treat all characters and creatures as enemies for the rest of the encounter. There's fire ants. With these, you increase guns to 3 and add the fire spit attack, which is 3 dice persistent energy damage, range medium. Giant mantis from Vault 22, level 7 mutated insect, body 8, mind 4, melee 4, other 2, HP 15, physical DR 3, energy DR 1, rad DR 1, immune to poison. They have a claw attack, 4 dice piercing, vicious physical damage. If they get hit in the head, they go into a frenzy like the giant ant. They can pounce with its wings, so they can leap anywhere within medium range and add 2 to its next claw attack for 6 dice total. They're also sneaky. They can do target number of 10 for sneak tests and roll +1 d20 on sneak attacks. We've got the Gulpers, body 8, mind 10, melee 5, other 4, HP 18, physical DR of 4, energy DR of 6, immune to rads, 8 poison DR, that's pretty good. They can bite for 6 dice breaking physical damage, slam 5 dice physical damage, heavy object 4 dice stun physical damage, throwing, meat range M. Amphibious, patient predator. They've got massive strength, so it can launch objects as large as a standard car. It's aggressive, so it generates 1 AP, and it's got a weak spot in the torso. We've got a hermit crab, and he's inside a VW bus. That's awesome. Level 12 mutated crustacean. They've got far too large for simple shells to contain them. They've taken up residence in the ruined vehicles of the wasteland. HP 72, body 12, mind 4, melee 3, physical DR 7, energy DR 6, red DR 7, no poison DR. Claw attack for 5 dice physical damage. They're big, of course. They have a metallic shell, which they can retreat inside, gaining +3 to all DRs, defense becoming 0, and it may not voluntarily take any move actions. The crab can exit his shell as a minor action. While inside the shell, the GM may spend up to 5 AP as a major action to spawn a group of 5 hermit crab hatchlings. It's also slow, and you can both butcher and scavenge it because it's got a vehicle as its shell. For the hatchlings, they're nearly identical to Mirelurk hatchlings, so just use those stats for a hermit crab hatchling. Got a honey beast. Look at that horrible thing. So this bee was an exception, growing larger than a brown bear and horrific to behold. Its wings are no longer strong enough to support their hulking frames. Now it does nothing more than make a low buzzing noise, hanging limply from its sides while carrying massive hives on their backs. Body 6, mind 6, melee 3, HP 20, physical and energy DR of 2, rad DR of 9, poison DR of 5. So they can do a bite for 4 dice piercing radioactive physical damage and a sting for 3 dice persistent poison damage. They have a protective swam. I think that means swarm. Come on, typos. The honey beast is protected by a swarm of bees ready to protect their home. The first time an attacker enters within reach of the honey beast on a turn or at the start of its turn, they suffer 1 dice poison damage. The honey beast may spend 1 to 3 AP as a minor action to spawn a bee swarm for each action point spent. Kick the nest. When the honey beast suffers a critical hit, roll 2 dice and add the total roll as action points to the GM's pool. Then we've got the bee swarms. These are mutated insects as well, body and mind of 4, HP of 5. So there are many normal-sized bees that can occupy the entire zone it's in. Takes double damage from attacks with the blast quality with the arc, burst, or spread damage effects. At the end of the bee swarm's turn, creature within the zone suffer 1 dice of poison damage, and they are airborne. They have no DR for physical or energy, but they're immune to radiation and poison. Interesting. Got the Rad Rat. So they're level 3 mutated creatures, body 7, mind 3, melee 3, other 2. They have HP of 10. They can bite you for 4 dice piercing physical damage, and their only ability is being immune to radiation. Glowing Plagued Rad Rat. That's a level 8 mutated mammal, body 8, mind 4, melee 4, other 2. HP 16, 2 physical DR, 3 energy DR, immune to rads and poison. They can bite you for 6 dice piercing radioactive physical damage. And they're glowing, so anyone within reach at the start of its turn will get 2 dice radiation damage. In addition, any melee attacks it makes gain the radioactive damage effect. Alright. Then we got Scorch Beasts. They are a mighty creature. Body 11, mind 6, HP 74. Physical and energy DR of 6. Immune to rads and poison. It can screech. 8 dice burst stun physical damage. Fire rate 2, range M. Wing Strike. 9 dice breaking vicious physical damage. Shockwave. Burst radioactive physical damage, range C. We've got the Hive Mind. Originators of the Scorched Plague. So when they enter a scene or use the Irradiate ability, you can spend up to 3 AP to summon 1 die Scorched creatures per AP spent. When threatened, Scorched Beast will fly overhead and mist a single zone with radioactive waste. The affected zone is covered by an obscured mist and radioactive waste that inflicts 5 dice radiation damage and increases the difficulty of all perception tests to anyone that starts this turn within the zone. You can also fly. If you choose to target the head, you can ignore DR. It's got a weak spot. It's big. It's blighted. So myriad diseases incubate inside these guys. Spend 2 AP to inflict a blight on the target when it hits with an attack. Blighted character generates 1 fewer AP on any successful skill test to a minimum of 0. For the remainder of the scene, they add +1 to the difficulty of any endurance plus survival test taken at the end of the scene to avoid contracting a disease. And finally, they're also aggressive, so they get an AP when they come into the scene. But look how huge this thing is. There's a human, and this is the Scorch Beast. It's gigantic. And we've got the cryptids. This is a Grafton monster. Huge and muscle-bound, these FEV mutated creatures were once thought to be mythical. They became very real and violent due to West Tech interference. Okay, so level 13 cryptid, body 9, mind of 6, melee 4, other 1, HP 35, physical DR 7, energy DR 6, immune to rad, 6 poison DR. They can hit you with their fists for 8 dice breaking physical damage. Sticky tar, 4 dice persistent physical damage, blast throwing range M. They can also chuck a heavy object, 4 dice stun physical damage, throwing range M. They're big, massive strength, they can throw a car at you. Destructive, they can shatter wood and metal. When they attack an inanimate object or a defensive structure, the damage increases by +3 dice. Hit to the head location of the creature is considered to strike as blowholes instead. If an attacker chooses to target the blowholes, it ignores the creature's DR. Wow, okay. We got the Mega Sloth. They're a level 12 mutated mammal. Body 10, mind of 4, melee 5, guns 3, other 3. HP 34, physical DR 8, energy 7, rad 9, poison immune. They've got a claw attack for 6 dice piercing physical damage. They can throw dirt at you for 3 dice spread physical damage, throwing range M. They can release a spore cloud as a major action, inflicts a 4 dice poison damage to every other creature within range C and creates a spore cloud. That cloud occupies the zone in close range and lasts until the Mega Sloth's next turn. While inside the spore cloud, the difficulty of all perception tests is increased by +2. Then we have the Mothman. So the orange-eyed Mothman can be seen hunting in the forests of Appalachia without a place in the theology of either cult, and shares an eye color with Mothman hatchlings. Okay, it's level 16 cryptid, body 8, mind 12, melee 4, guns 5, other 4, HP 60, physical DR 7, same as energy DR, rad DR 5, and they're immune to poison. They can do a sonic pulse for 10 dice, stun, energy damage, range M, concussive blast, mind plus guns, 8 dice, blast, stun, energy damage, range C. Special abilities, they can go on silent wings, they can vanish into the sky if threatened, only to reappear with deadly silence behind the target. They can spend 1 AP to vanish and reappear in an adjacent zone, and adds +1 to the difficulty of all attacks against it until the start of its next turn. It's all in the eyes. The Mothman may reroll 1d20 on mind tests. It's also a stalker. It gains 1 automatic success on all sneak tests or to hide and move silently, and its initiative increased by +2. While in shadow, darkness, or some form of concealment, its defense is increased by +1. When the Mothman is reduced to half of its max HP, it mutates and becomes invisible. It disintegrates on death, leaving nothing but dust. Then we've got the Wise Mothman. It's purple-eyed visage. Okay, level 16 cryptid. So it's a major character with special stats and everything. 6'10", 6'9", 10, 8, and 8 respectively. Got attack skills in sneak, survival, medicine, and science. HP 38, carry weight 210. Physical and energy DR at 7, rad DR at 5, immune to poison. Again, it has sonic pulse, 10 dice, stun, energy damage, range M. Concussive blast, 8 dice, blast, stun, energy damage, range C. It's got on silent wings in the eyes. It also has the blessing of wisdom. So as a major action, an ally may commune with the Wise Mothman if they're within close range, and may reroll 1d20 on any test until the start of their next turn. And then we again have these stalker abilities. The Vengeful Mothman, it's red-eyed, aggressive, and openly hostile, sometimes appearing in 3 colorations, black, gray, or reddish bodies. We're back to body and mind with this one. Melee 4, guns 5, other 4, HP 60, Fizz, energy DR of 7, 5 rad DR, immune to poison. We've got Sonic Pulse, concussive blast again. On silent wings, it's only eyes, stalker, and aggressive with this one. The Sheep Squatch, deep in the mountains of Appalachia, stalking the wooded foothills and valleys of the region. So level 18, body 12, mind 9, melee 5, guns 4, other 3, HP 144, physical and energy DR and rad DR of 7, poison DR, it's immune. It can attack you with horns, 5 dice, physical damage, debilitating, hooves, 10 dice, breaking physical damage, slam, 6 dice, stun damage, and blast, quills, 6 dice, persistent poison damage, and range M. It's also aggressive, it's a patient predator, but with a difficulty of 4 rather than 3 as we saw for other creatures with this ability. It's sneaky, a TN of 15 for sneak tests, so it's very good at sneaking around. It can howl by spending 2 AP. It's heard for miles around, and nearby raiders may come to investigate. Roll 2 dice. If 2 effects are rolled, a patrol of raiders arrives at the scene in 3 rounds. They're hostile to both the Sheep Squatch and the players, and will attempt to kill the cryptid themselves to loot the body. As a major action, it can ram, moves to any creature within medium range, and attacks with horns. Doesn't count as a move action. When it hits with its quills, if 2 effects were rolled, the quills explode on impact. All creatures within close range of the target suffer 3 dice poison damage, and on the next turn may not take the sprint action, and their move action becomes a major action for them. 3 times per combat, the Sheep Squatch's hoof attack gains the arc damage effect, so that's pretty hardcore. You got the Snallygaster. Okay, so it's the first stable creature mutated with the FEV. It's got body 8, mind 6, melee 4, guns 4, other 3, level 11, 19 HP, physical energy DR of 7, immune to rads and poison. You can spit poison, 5 dice poison damage, range M. Tongue whip, 6 dice breaking physical damage. It's aggressive, immune to rads, immune to poison. Choose to attack the head. It's got a weak spot there. It has keen senses as well, which we've seen before. You got the Wendigo. Look at this guy. Long before the Great War, people told tales of the Wendigo, a malevolent spirit of hunger and greed. Body of 11, mind of 4, melee 5, guns 4, level 9, mighty creature, 40 HP, physical DR 5, energy DR 6, immune to rads and poison. They can scream, 6 dice, burst, stun, energy damage, range M, claws, 5 dice, arc, physical damage. They're aggressive, they're a ghoul, so they're healed by radiation and gain 1 HP for every 3 points of rad damage. Got a piercing scream, can be heard for miles around. Perception tests that rely on hearing, increasing difficulty by +3 for any creature struck by the Wendigo's scream until the end of the scene. When the Wendigo uses its scream for the first time, all ghouls within long range may take an additional minor action on the next turn. It's also a cannibal, so if undisturbed, it will attempt to consume its prey as a major action. It inflicts an immediate injury on a dying humanoid character within reach, and a character must immediately make an endurance plus survival test to avoid. Then we got mutated humanoids, the feral ghost roamer. They wear the tattered remains of U.S. National Guard uniform. A body 6, mind 5, melee 3, other 2, HP 11, physical and energy DR of 1, immune to rads and poison. They got an unarmed attack of 4 dice radioactive physical damage. Yikes. They're feral. They can't be influenced by speech or anything like that. They are a ghoul, so they're healed by radiation, and they can play dead. So it takes a perception plus survival test difficulty 2 to spot a ghoul which is playing dead. Feral ghost stalker. They've got bloodied mouths, body 6, mind 6, melee 3, other 2, HP 4, physical DR2, energy DR3, unarmed attack, 5 dice radioactive physical damage. They're feral again, they're ghouls again, and they can play dead again. So they're just a beefier feral ghoul, basically. We have a Scorched Wanderer. The Scorched Plague burned their skin and rotted their mind. No more than a puppet molded and moved by the Scorched Hive mind. So they've got body 7, mind of 3, melee 3, guns 2, other 2, HP 11, physical DR and energy DR of 1, immune to rads and poison. Unarmed attack is 3 dice of radioactive physical damage, and they have a pump action shotgun. 5 dice spread physical damage, fire rate 1, range C, inaccurate and two-handed. They're scorched, so they can't be persuaded or influenced by speech. All scorched within long range will be alerted if they spot an enemy. Petrified. A Scorched Wanderer which is not moving is difficult to tell apart from a petrified corpse, so you have to roll perception plus survival difficulty 2 to spot them. They don't use this ability to hunt because unlike ghouls, they just immediately start to attack if they sense something moving nearby. Then we've got Scorched Berserkers. They are level 7 mutated humans, body 8, mind 4, melee 4, guns nothing, other 2, 15 HP, 3 physical DR, 2 energy DR. They've got a multi-purpose axe for 5 dice physical damage, two-handed. Scorched again, and petrified again. Another version of the scorched bad guys there. We have a Trog Fledgling. They're smaller than a normal human, but they're constantly exposed to radiation and industrial toxins in and around Pittsburgh. Sounds about like Pittsburgh now. I'm from Pennsylvania, I can say these things. Okay, level 2 mutated human, body 5, mind 4, melee 3, other 2, HP 8. No energy and physical DR, but they're immune to poison and rads. They can do a bite for 3 dice physical damage. And they are feral. Got a Trog Devourer, level 7 mutated human, body 9, mind 3, melee 4, other 3, HP 16, 3 Phys DR, 2 energy DR, immune to rads and poison. They can bite you for 6 die vicious physical damage. They're feral and they have a disorienting howl. They can spend 1 AP and use a major action to have the Trog Devourer perform a disorienting howl. This howl alerts all Trogs within long range, and they rush towards the area to begin their feast. Yikes. Then we got some robots. We've got Colonel Gutsy, a stronger version of the Mr. Gutsy model. This is a level 13 notable character robot of the Mr. Gutsy line. Tag skills in big guns, energy weapons, and melee weapons. He's got HP 24, physical and energy DR of 2, and like all robots, he's immune to radiation and poison. He can attack with a buzzsaw for 7 die piercing physical damage. He's got an agitated targeting laser gun with 6 die vicious piercing energy damage, range C, fire rate 3, and close quarters. Compressed flamer for 4 dice persistent energy damage, fire rate 1, range C, and he's a robot with all the things that come with that. And he's got the Mr. Handy trait for 360-degree vision and improved sensory systems that reduce the difficulty of perception tests for sight and smell. Also moves on jet propulsion, so it's unaffected by the ground obstacles or bad terrain. And it's got the Mr. Gutsy special ability, so they gain 1 dice of damage and have Mr. Gutsy plating as standard armor. If someone wants to reason with Colonel Gutsy, difficulty increases by 2 if the character is not in military uniform. They can also let rip. We've got Cyber Dogs, Cyber Hounds, so they're mechanically and technology modified dogs. Level 5 robotic mammal with body 6, mind 5, melee 3, guns 3, other 3. Fizz and energy and rad DR of 1, and they're immune to poison. They can bite for 5 die physical damage, and they have a sonic bark for 3 dice burst energy damage, range M. They have keen senses, of course, and they have an auto repair system. So once per combat, as a major action, the cyber dog can regain 2 dice of health points. Got the Liberator, small robots deployed behind enemy lines to infiltrate in swarms. A level 1 robot, body 5, mind 4, melee 2, guns 2, other 1, HP 6, physical and energy DR of 1. They're robots, so of course rad and poison are immune. Fire a laser for 4 dice energy damage, range C, and it's got 4 dice physical damage blades for melee, and also immune to disease. A recorded message, so they have propaganda messages which are played out of internal speakers to those around it, which you can hear from long range. It's also little. Then we have the Super Mutants. Here we have some Nightkin, level 9 example. Attack skills and melee weapons and sneak. They've got physical and energy DR of 2 in the head, arms, and legs, and 4 in the torso. They're immune to rads and poison. This one has a bumper sword for 7 die piercing physical, recoil 7 two-handed, light machine gun for 5 burst physical damage, fire rate 4 inaccurate, recoil 8 and two-handed. Immune to rads, immune to poison, barbarians, they get +2 to physical and energy damage resistance, which is already included. And they're addicted to stealth boys. They can spend 2 AP to activate one and become invisible for 3 rounds. Enemies add +2 to the difficulty of all tests to spot them, and their defense is also increased by +2 to a total of 3. They can also let rip with their light machine gun. Pretty cool drawing there as well. And we got the Master. So before the Master, there was Richard Gray, and before him, Richard Moreau, an ex-vault dweller with a shady past. So he was immersed in a vat of forced evolutionary virus, and he slowly mutated beyond all recognition. Started experimenting with things. He's a level 20 mutated human and a major character with special stats of 10, 10, 10, 12, 12, nothing for agility, luck of 8, tag skills in barter, energy weapons, medicine, pilot, repair, science, and speech. Every skill is a tag skill at 5. HP 46, physical and energy damage resistance of 10, immune to rad and poison. He's got turrets, which fire 9 dice piercing energy damage, fire rate of 2, range M. He got Holy Flame, 9 die persistent energy damage. Dark God, so he surrounds himself with a mix of super mutant and human servants. As a minor action, you may order a super mutant or a human of lower level that is under his sway to perform a major action. You can assist that action with charisma plus speech. Father Hope, so he gets +2 to charisma attribute and speech tests against him, increased difficulty by +3. Ouch. He can absorb radiation to heal himself with advanced FEV mutation. He gains HP for every point of radiation damage inflicted on him. He's fully integrated with a Vault Tech computer system. As such, he has an agility attribute of 0, but is aware of everything that happens within his domain. Sneak tests made within his vault have an increased difficulty of +3. He's also got a Psychic Presence, generate 1 AP for every round within his vault. He's got a weak spot if you target his head. He's an amalgamation of machine and flesh. When rolling random hit locations, anything other than a head location counts as a torso hit. He is also super intelligent, so he gains 3 extra tag skills and +2 to int. When he mutates, he applies the full weight of his intellect to the threat at hand, and all tests generate 1 automatic success. Oh, God. Then we have an ancient superhuman behemoth, another legendary creature, feared even by superhuman behemoths. He's one of the deadliest creatures to roam the wasteland. Body 12, mind 6, melee 5, guns 5, other 5, 162 HP, physical and DR of 10, energy DR of 8, immune to rads, 9 poison DR. Gargantuan club does 12 vicious breaking physical damage, and he could chuck a boulder for 10 dice vicious stun physical damage, throwing range M. He's also immune to radiation, immune to fear, aggressive, he's big, got mutant strength, so he's got 1 automatic success on any body test, +1 die in any melee attack. He's also destructive, so he can spend 2 AP to destroy any piece of cover within reach. At half health it mutates, and the Gargantuan Club gains the arc damage effect. They can also be glowing to make him even more challenging, according to the sidebar here. We got the Swan. Edgar Swan was a low-level Institute employee who was caught stealing cigarettes, been infected with FEV, and then went crazy. His only memory is his name, which he roars when disturbed. Swan! He's a level 18 mutated human and legendary creature. Body 12, mind 6, melee 5, guns 4, other 4, 144 HP, physical DR 9, energy DR 7, immune to rads, 10 poison DR. He can hit you with his anchor for 11 die vicious breaking physical damage. He can chuck a boulder for 9 die vicious stun physical damage, throwing range M. He's big, he's got a hull shield, has the prow of a small boat strapped to one arm, which we can see here. This counts as a piece of cover, providing +1 cover dice. Oh, that's cool. He can charge, run up to within reach of any creature within medium range and attack with his anchor, and that doesn't count as a move action. He spends much of their time submerged at Swan's Pond with only his armor above the surface, appearing as a broken boat. So if you want to spot him, you got to do Perception plus Survival, difficulty 2. If you're within his territory, he may reroll 1d20 on all perception tests. When he mutates, he will stop at nothing to protect what's his, and the AP cost to buy additional d20s is reduced by 1. We got the Enclave. So some members of the rapidly collapsing U.S. government fled into hiding. So high-ranking political figures, military members, and corporate leaders retreated from the world and formed the Enclave. They live in the shadows, their extreme isolation having caused extreme xenophobia inside the organization, clinging to remnants of the USA, proud and still devoted to a nation that no longer exists. We have the commanding officer. He's a major character at level 16 with special stats 8, 10, 7, 10, 6, 6, 10, tag skills in barter, energy weapons, small guns, and speech, 43 HP, melee bonus 1 die, physical DR 3, energy DR 3, rad DR 1, no poison DR. He can do 3 dice physical damage unarmed. He's got a rapid laser pistol, 4 dice piercing energy damage, fire rate 5, range C, close quarters, powerful 10mm pistol, 6 die physical damage, fire rate 2, range C, close quarters, unreliable. Action packed, so he begins each scene with a personal pool of 4 AP, which he may spend instead of drawing from other scores. He can let rip as well, and he can generate an automatic critical success on any int or charisma skill test with sharp. He's also a tyrant, so he's typically accompanied by 1 or more human Enclave members. Then we've got Enclave Hellfire Troopers, level 14 fighters. The special stats 10, bracket 13, 7, 10, 3, 4, 4, 4. Attack skill in big guns and unarmed. 24 HP, 3 dice melee bonus. Physical DR 6 on the head, 9 on the chest, 5 on the arm and legs. Energy DR 5 on the head, 10 on the chest, 4 on the arms and legs. Rad DR 999, poison DR 0. Their unarmed attack does 5 dice physical damage, and they carry a heavy incinerator for 5 dice burst persistent spread energy damage, fire rate 3, range M, debilitating, and two-handed. Woo! They've got Let Rip and Power Armor, so they use the armor strength of 13 instead of their own. They're immune to damage from falling and inflict 3 dice damage to all creatures within reach of their landing. They can breathe underwater and in toxic environments. So they have T51 armor, you can see in their inventory. Now, Enclave Soldiers, they have special stats of 7, bracket 11, 7, 8, 3, 4, 4, 5. Attack skills and energy and melee weapons, HP 11, melee bonus 3 dice again, physical DR 6, 9, and 5 for head, chest, and arms and legs, respectively. Energy DR 5 for the head, 7 for the chest, 4 for the arms and legs. Rad DR 7 for the head, 9 for the chest, 7 for the arm and legs, and 0 poison DR. They have an improved laser rifle, 5 dice piercing 2 energy damage, fire rate 2, range C, and a Ripper, 7 dice vicious physical damage. They also can Let Rip, and they wear power armor, giving them a strength of 11 instead of their own, just like the Hellfire Trooper. We've got a Tesla Soldier. So he's level 8, special stats 7, 11, 8, 9, 3, 4, 4, 4. Attack skills and big guns and energy weapons, 17 HP, 3 die melee bonus. Physical DR 6 in the head, 9 in the chest, 5 in the arms and legs. Energy 5 in the head, 7 in the chest, 4 in the arms and legs. Rad 7 in the head, 9 in the chest, 7 in the arms and legs. They carry a minigun for 3 dice, burst spread physical damage, fire rate 5, range M, Gatling, inaccurate and two-handed. Gatling laser, 3 die burst, piercing energy damage, fire rate 6, range M, Gatling, inaccurate two-handed. They have a rocket launcher, 11 die physical damage, range L, blast, and two-handed, and their unarmed attack does 5 dice physical damage. They also have Tesla armor, so when an enemy makes a melee attack against them, they suffer 4 dice energy damage. They also are a weapon specialist, so they carry either a minigun, a Gatling laser, or a rocket launcher, so one of these 3 things, not all of them. And they can Let Rip with their Gatling laser or minigun if they have those. And yeah, once again, a full suite of T51 power armor with Tesla chests, wealth of 2. Frank Horrigan, so he was the personal bodyguard to President Dick Richardson, came to contact with the FEV, and he was kept inoculated and unconscious as he transformed. Violent man choosing guns and steel to resolve his problems. He's a super mutant robot, major character, level 21. Special stats 13, 10, 10, 9, 3, 9, 8. Tag skills and athletics, big guns, energy weapons, and melee weapons. 66 HP, 3 die melee bonus, 9 physical DR in the head, 10 in the body, 6 in the arms, 9 in the legs. 9 energy DR in the head, 10 in the body, 6 in the arms, 9 in the legs. Immune to rads and poison. He got an agitated, recoil, compensated, tactical targeting plasma rifle. Wow, it's a lot of words. 10 dice, vicious physical energy damage, fire rate 3, range C, two-handed. And he's got his big bad knife here. 11 die, physical, vicious damage, two-handed. Big, he's got integrated armor, so he's totally bonded with his armor. And he can wield two-handed weapons with one hand. He can Let Rip, and he can heal 3 HP at the end of each turn. He's also got legendary damage, so his plasma rifle inflicts plus 3 dice damage and may use Let Rip once more per scene. When he's reduced to half of his maximum HP, he mutates and his attacks become faster. He can spend 1 AP to make an additional major action to attack with his plasma rifle, and he does not suffer any increase in difficulty. In addition, he regains 1 use of Let Rip. Wow. The Gunners, militaristic raider gang operating around the Commonwealth and beyond. So here we have different ranks of them. The Conscripts, the lowest rung, with special stats 5, 6, 6, 5, 5, 6, 4. Tag skills and energy weapons and small guns. Physical DR 2 in the torso, 0 everywhere else. Energy R2 in the torso, 1 in the arms and legs. No protection from rads or poison. Submachine gun, 3 dice, burst physical damage, fire rate 3, range C, inaccurate two-handed. They can Let Rip. Gunner Sergeants, they're level 9, so stats 5, 7, 6, 6, 5, 7, 4. Tag skills and energy weapons and small guns. 15 HP, physical DR 4 in the head, 3 in the arms, legs, and torso. Energy DR 4 in the head, 3 in the arms, legs, and torso. No protection from rads or poison. They can have a powerful combat rifle, 7 dice physical damage, fire rate 2, range M, two-handed. Improved laser gun, 5 dice piercing 1 energy damage, fire rate 2, range C, close quarters. Or frag grenade, 6 dice physical damage, blast throwing range M. Special abilities, chain of command, so they can command any gunner of lower level to immediately perform a major action. They can Let Rip with their combat rifle or laser gun. Blood type tattoo. So when taking the first aid action on another gunner, the gunner sergeant heals 4 HP in addition to any other effect. Any AP spent to heal additional AP heals twice as much. They're also prepared and therefore have both a powerful combat rifle and an improved laser gun. Cool. Got the Gunner Commander. He's level 12. Stats 8 brackets 11, 8, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6. Tag skills, energy weapons, pilot and small guns, HP 26, melee bonus plus 3 dice. Physical DR 6 in the head, 8 in the chest, 4 in the arms and legs. Energy 4 in the head, 7 in the chest, 3 in the arms and legs. Rad 7 in the head, 9 in the chest, 7 in the arms and legs. And no poison. DR, unarmed attacks 5 dice physical damage. Recoil compensated plasma rifle, 6 dice physical energy damage. Fire rate 2, two-handed, range C. Frag grenade, 6 dice physical damage, blast, throwing range M. Power armor, which gives them the 11 strength. They can let rip. And they have vertebrate experience, so they get a bonus D20 when making a test to pilot vertebrates. And they have T45 power armor. Then we've got Clint, a former member of the Minutemen, became disillusioned with their cause, and now he joined the Gunners. He's level 14 human, notable character. Special stats 7 brackets 11, 8, 8, 7, 6, 6, 7. Attack skills and energy weapons, explosives, and small guns. HP 29, plus 3 dice melee bonus. Physical DR 5, arms and legs, 9 torso. Energy 4 arms, legs, 8 torso. Rad DR 7 arms, legs, 9 torso. Unarmed attack 5 dice physical damage. Good intentions 3 dice burst. Piercing energy damage. Fire rate 4, two-handed, accurate, recon, range M. Frag grenade 6 dice physical damage. Blast, throwing range M. He's got his power armor to give him the strength of 11. He can do a disciplined let rip. You can do that with good intentions, and you can do chain of command as well. Got a mixture of T51 and T60 power armor. Caesar's Legion, recruit legendary, are only level 6. Special stats 7, 6, 7, 4, 4, 6, 4. Attack skills and melee weapons and throwing. Plus 1 melee bonus. Physical DR 2 in the torso, 2 in the head. Energy DR 2 in the torso, 1 in the head. No rad or poison protection. Unarmed strike 3 dice physical damage. They have a javelin, 4 dice piercing, 1 physical, suppressed throwing range M. Machete 3 dice physical piercing. Forgotten tactics. Once per combat, the Legionary may spend 1 AP to attack with a javelin as a minor action. Unless no higher ranking members of the Legion remain in the scene, the recruit will not run and cannot be persuaded, as they know the price of disobedience. Veteran Legionaries, special stat 7, 6, 7, 4, 4, 7, 4, level 8. They've got tag skills in melee and throwing weapons, HP of 15 plus 1 die melee bonus, physical DR 4 in the torso, 3 in the heads and legs, 2 in the arms, energy DR 3 in the torso, 2 in the head, 1 in the arms, power fist, 5 dice stun physical damage, javelin, 4 dice piercing 1, physical, suppressed, throwing range M, and now assault rifle, 5 dice burst physical damage, fire rate 2, range M. They again have forgotten tactics. They can let her rip with the assault rifle, and they have for the Legion. As a major action, the veteran Legionary may order any lower level member within close range to immediately take a major action. Centurion, so these are in command of 80 Legionaries each, level 10, special stats 8, 6, 7, 6, 6, 8, 6, attack skills, melee weapons, small guns, and throwing, HP 23, plus 1 die melee, physical DR 5 head and torso, 4 arm and leg, energy 4 head and torso, 3 leg, 2 arm, no rads or poison DR, unarmed strike is 3 dice physical damage, javelin, 4 dice piercing, 1 physical, suppressed, throwing range M, thermic lance, 7 die piercing, 1 stunned energy damage, recoil 7, parry, and two-handed. They also have an anti-material rifle, 8 dice vicious physical damage, fire rate 0, range L, two-handed, reliable, and recoil of 8. They got fanatical loyalty, which is again misspelled. Come on. Centurions are fanatically loyal. They cannot be persuaded by anyone the Legion regards as in damnatio memoria. They've forgotten tactics and for the Legion as well. And they have this new thermic lance weapon, which is a melee weapon, and they give you the details here. The Legate Lanius, Caesar's second in command, an heir apparent, major character. Special stats 10, 7, 9, 8, 7, 8, 8. Tag skills in melee, small guns, speech, and throwing weapons. HP 40. Physical DR 5 in the head and torso, 4 in the arm and leg. DR energy 5 in the head, 4 in the torso, 3 in the leg, 3 in the arm. 3 rad DR in the head, 2 poison DR in the head. The Blade of the East, 10 dice, piercing 1 physical damage, recoil 7, two-handed. 9mm pistol, 3 dice physical damage, close quarters, concealed, reliable, fire rate 2, range C. Javelin, 4 dice, piercing 1 physical damage, suppressed, and throwing. Again, misspelled word here. By any means, loyal to Caesar and Caesar alone, cannot be persuaded or reasoned with. Also forgotten tactics. Also for Caesar, he can let rip with a volley from the 9mm pistol, and he can rage heal. So he heals 3 HP at the start of each of his turns. When he mutates, he immediately gains his health points back to maximum HP. Then we got Caesar himself, level 20, major character, special stats 8, 8, 8, 10, 10, 7, 8, tag skills in science, speech, survival, and unarmed, HP 44, physical DR 2, everything but the head for physical and energy, nothing in rads and poison. He's got a displacer glove, a 7 die stun, piercing 1 physical, 9mm pistol, 3 die physical, close quarter, concealed, reliable, fire rate 2, range C. Render unto Caesar, generates 1 success for any barter or speech test. He's got Force Caesar as well, got Let Her Rip, and he's a tyrant, so he's got 3 centurions who act as his honor guard. guard. When he mutates, 3 additional Centurions enter the scene, rushing to their leader's aid. Then we got some Raiders. So we got Forged. These are level 8 Raiders with special stats 7, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 4. Tags in energy, melee weapons, and survival. HP 15. Laser pistol, 4 die, piercing 1 energy damage. Fire rate 2, range C, close quarters. Flamer, 3 dice burst, persistent spread, energy damage. Fire rate 4, range C, debilitating, inaccurate, two-handed. And a sledgehammer for 6 dice physical damage. Forged in fire. They gain 1 extra tag skill and cannot be persuaded to act against the gang's interest. And they can let rip with the laser pistol or flamer. Notable forged NPCs can gain cage armor and a super sledge as an upgrade to their laser pistol or flamer. We've got the Slag, leader of the Forged. He's a fanatic at level 11 with strength 11. Other stats at 9, 9, 8, 7, 8, 6. Tags in energy and melee weapons and speech and survival. 32 HP. Physical DR 8 in the torso, 4 in the arms and legs. Energy DR 7 in the torso, 3 in the arms and legs. Rad DR 9 in the torso, 7 in the arms and legs. Do a shish kebab, 5 dice piercing, 1 energy damage. Laser pistol, 4 die piercing, vicious energy damage, fire rate 2, range C. Frag grenade, 6 dice physical damage, blast, throwing range M. Let it rip with a volley from his laser pistol. Action packed. He's a fanatic, so as a minor action, he can spend 2 AP, perform an opposed speech test. If he succeeds, the target must move away from him on the next turn. Trapper, who've been constantly exposed to low-level radiation. Their mind is slowly dwindling. They're only level 3, 6, 5, 6, 4, 5, 7, 4 stats. Tags in small guns and sneak. HP 9, initiative 12. Physical DR 2, everywhere but the head. Energy DR 2, everywhere but the head. Rad DR 1, all. Unarmed, 2 dice physical damage. Hunting rifle, 6 dice piercing, 1 physical damage. Fire rate 0, range M, two-handed. And they're shadowed, so they can reroll 1d20 on any sneak test in dim light or darkness. And then finally, the Stalking Trapper. He's got stats 6, 6, 6, 4, 5, 8, 4. He's level 7. Tags in small guns and sneak. And physical DR and energy DR of 2 everywhere but the head. Rad DR of 1 everywhere. He's got a harpoon gun. So it's a big gun. 12 damage rating. Piercing 1 physical damage. Fire rate 0. Range M. Debilitating and inaccurate and two-handed. Unarmed for 2 dice damage. No big deal. Lever action rifle. 7 dice. Piercing 1 physical damage. Fire rate 0. Range M. Two-handed. Shadowed like the other Trapper. So there you go. That is the whole of this gigantic thing. Again, we have a settlement sheet, which is a little bit strange because this is the Wanderer's Guidebook, but never mind. So yeah, that's the Wanderer's Guidebook for Fallout 2D20. I think it's a pretty good book. There's a ton of stuff in there that's usable for the GM to make some awesome legendary creatures, some really heavy-duty challenges while people are wandering through the horrors of the wasteland. Some cool scavenging locations you can chuck in anywhere. Rules for vehicles you can use, and a lot of example ones, which will make traveling across the wasteland more fun and more exciting with some chases and vehicle combat. But there are a lot of typos, and there's that obvious mistake of the lacking crafting recipes for the Gatling Plasma. But again, I'm sure they're going to fix that in the PDF, but I'm just waiting for my official copy. But in any case, if you're a Fallout 2D20 fan, I'm sure you'll find something here to strike your fancy. Just be aware there are a bunch of typos, but they're nothing really impactful here. Other than that, I have to say I didn't notice much else that was a big deal. I think the issue that was raised by one reviewer about the Nuka Girl suit, it's just a costume. It's not intended to be armor, really, so I think that's fine. So if you can deal with those minor errors and find it for a good price, I definitely recommend this to add some legendary creatures and crazy high-level stuff and vehicles to your Fallout campaign. I certainly enjoyed my reading through it, and I'm looking forward to integrating this into my campaign, even though, like I said, I'm looking more towards, building settlements and building a presence. There will be wanderers coming by and maybe raiders with vehicles, and high-level challenges will have to appear at some point, so this book has them all set out for me. Definitely recommended for the Fallout 2D20 fan. Just bear in mind that probably this could have done with an extra proofreading pass. Other than that, I hope this is useful to you guys out there who are into Fallout and like the 2D20 system. And let me know if you have any more questions about the book. I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. In the meantime, as usual, take care, be well. Let me know what you think of the book in the comments. If you have the inclination and the money and the time, feel free to donate some money on my Ko-fi link in the description below. Anyway, I hope to see you in the comments and in the next video. So until then, take care and bye-bye.